Yeah.
No.
You're going to see me just like cracking a really big smile. I'm just going to be like real fucking awkward.
Nah, you're good, man. Well, Bobby, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. You've been a big help for me over the years. You taught me some shit. I paid you once to come out here.
Yeah, dude. And I remember.
And teach me. And you told me to buy it. Oh, man, I use this thing. And I went and I fucking financed a huge Wacom tablet. Because he's...
Did I? I was the one that got you to buy that, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah. And I used it for a while, and then I sold it earlier this year, I believe. I think I finally sold it earlier this year.
And you got the fucking
I had the big
screen
boy.
one.
Yeah.
Because, you didn't... You were like, I can't fucking...
I couldn't do this, and like
Yeah.
the hand-eye coordination wasn't there for a computer screen, but that actually would be better because when I started editing photos, as you already know about this, like not having a color correct monitor.
Yeah.
So what happened with that Wacom tablet that I had that I was trying to edit on, I edited these photos. I remember it was for CycleSource. It was a John Jessup, and they were perfect on this. And then I export them, Dropbox them, and they're yellow as fuck. Yeah. So, not having like calibrated monitors to like edit photos so that it looks the same on all platforms, it just made it harder. I was like, I just bought an Apple monitor and everything's pretty good on that because most people look at it on that stuff. So if you had just a tablet that didn't have the screen on it, then that's a better thing in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
I want one too. And I know you've already had it.
Yeah.
But then I also seen Oliver's too, and I was like, fuck, dude, I have to have one with the screen on it. It's so much better. And then especially doing like the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to go back because I still have mine, but it doesn't have the screen. I'm like, fuck, this sucks. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, the iPad thing's different too. I found that I would rather just work on the iPad when it comes to that. Do you have like a
software on the iPad isn't the exact same as so nothing works.
It's like a mobile
right.
version.
Yeah. And like I remember whenever it came out, they were trying to be like, oh yeah, all the features are on Photoshop for your iPad now. And I was like, that was why I bought an iPad, was because of that key thing. It's a completely different version of Photoshop. The healing brush doesn't fucking work correct. It's completely different. I'm like, okay, cool. This was pointless.
That's how it's been. That's been the argument everybody said about the iPad is that you have this very capable machine, but you want to do it on these app-based things instead of having like a more or less a Windows or file-based.
Yeah. And
so you have these programs where you have this thing they can operate, but then you make it to where these programs don't work as well. Like you said, they don't have a lot of the same tools.
They got to tone them down for battery life or whatever reason.
Well, they need also, like if you buy an iPad, why do you need a MacBook?
Well, it's basically you're using phone apps just on a really big screen.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
Man,
yeah. The Photoshop tools that are on an iPad are like, what these are useless. Like it's so hard.
They removed almost every single real photography aspect from an iPad.
Yeah.
What existed, they took away. And what they say is there isn't really there. Because you used to be able to shoot tethered to an iPad and have it come up. It changed the
you got to do that
update before I bought my iPad.
I think you got to use like Camera Raw or something like for that, right? Or like the classic Lightroom.
Yeah, on the computer, on iPad, like for Apple products, it used to just be plug your phone into your camera and take a picture, and it'll come up in the Photos app immediately. And then they got rid of that.
Oh yeah.
For no reason. I don't see a good reason that they removed that feature.
Well, let's back up a little, man. Why'd you get into cameras in the first damn place?
If you can't fucking do what the pros do, man, you gotta take photos of them. That's the best way to put it. I grew up like going to the skate park and stuff, so it's like get decent, never get good enough, but you got all your buddies that are going pro and stuff. It's like, hey man, I've always been into cameras. Like, I'm gonna start bringing this here, and then, hey, now we get to go on tour and.
Yeah, I've asked other photographers that stuff because it's kind of like in the sense you have access to something.
Yeah.
To like a group, a scene, like the same way, Esteban Oriol had access to what was it, Cypress Hill that he was traveling with and doing that stuff with back in the day, and all of a sudden he becomes this photographer based out of the fact that he has access to shoot something that most people that would want to don't, right?
Yeah.
You're shooting behind the scenes. You're shooting something that nobody else has. It's the same reason why I was just talking to you about, like, why when I'm walking around an event, like, I don't want to shoot the camera. Like, there's no special access here.
Yeah.
Now, if you get to get in the fucking Ives Brothers Wall of Death and shoot down in the middle, that's something that not everybody else is getting, but now they kind of let anybody in there now.
Yeah,
Huh?
I know. I just walked right up in there, and like I know Nate, and I guess he was helping out with them and stuff. And so at first, I was just gonna like kind of walk in there and see if I could get by, and he wound up walking up right as I was, and he's like, "Oh, come on."
Yeah.
But it's like, have you tried it? Just
No, I haven't.
the shit where you just bring a camera to some event that you're not attached to and just see how far you can get past.
That's kind of what I think when the chopper drags were going on and they had the barriers up, then it's like, bro, like just act like you're supposed to be here.
That's exactly what I did.
See how many fucking people were on their phones, like behind all the photographers?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, where can I need to go over to the other lane. Like, get me away from all this shit. There's fucking like 50 people all doing a human pyramid on each other, fucking taking photos.
Yeah, there's a couple, like, I think Reno got a shot of me leaned over a hay bale trying to shoot because I had the long lens on trying to shoot down. And then I think I got a shot at Devin. I got a shot at Tyler. I got a shot where Chicken Rick was getting the burnout on him. He videoed it, and I got the shot of him getting all the dirt thrown in his face. And it was just, like I said, it's too much. And then, you know, you kind of don't have the access anymore. But going back to like what you were saying about, it's a good way to put it. Like I couldn't, you know, skate or do the stuff at the park. So it's like, fuck it. This is a great way to kind of, the Attitude Jefferson stuff, you know?
Buddies and like we get to do something.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I mean, like I was trying to think about it. It's like, I think since I was like 4, my mom was going to go to school and she was becoming a photographer before she had met my dad. And then gave all that stuff up. But she had like an old film camera. And I remember finding it like buried away whenever I was like 4 years old or something. And I just, since then, it's always been like, dude, fucking cameras are sick. Yeah. So I've always had it. And then skate park kind of just helped it. Because then you're just hanging out with all your buddies and you're just filming stuff, taking photos, and they're all fucking terrible looking back at them. But but it's fun.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like if every little group, every little like a group of homies, whether they're riding motorcycles or skating or playing in a band, it's like those shots become the ones that really, even though they might not have been great, they're kind of like the ones that, I don't know, resonate the best down the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like,
kind of like beginner's luck kind of thing. Like
it's
you're
like
just
the point and shoot film. Like none of those photos are great, but that's its own look and that's home movie feel. Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah, so you're doing that for a while. Like, how does that transition into shooting motorcycle stuff?
You and Jason Ochoa.
For real?
That's it. I went to the last Giddy Up, and like obviously I brought a camera just with like Elliot and Paul and all those guys, little Chopper Chump group. Yeah, and that was just mainly just hanging out with some buddies. That's where I met like first chopper guys. Like got a bike, and DeJong, me and him would go back to skate park shit, and so he invited me, and then we met all these other dudes. And then it was the year after that Ochoa just randomly on Instagram DM'd me and was like, "Hey man, you wanna, we're doing a thing. Him and Awaz, we're doing something for a bulldog rescue. Like, hey man, you want to come take a photo of this?" It's like, okay. Like, I don't know who the fuck this loser is that like he's trying to just hit me up. Like, I think I had one photo on my Instagram of a bike from Giddy Up, and everything else was skate park shit, nothing to do with it. So, and then obviously Jason Ochoa does a bunch of stuff, and then Scott seen my stuff, and then before I started realizing like, oh, these are some cool motherfuckers. Like, I think you'd hit me up for some like Photoshop stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, cause I had taken a Photoshop course, like a little class. Yeah. Cause I was just trying to learn some new stuff. And then the stuff that the guy taught me, I was like, damn, I already know all this. Like, Okay, it doesn't seem that hard. Maybe I can try and make some money like doing the same thing then.
I think I forgot everything you taught me.
I don't do half the shit that I taught you anymore. So I don't think I've opened Photoshop for some motorcycle stuff in probably 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, for those listening, like you actually made the banner that was on our YouTube. Like, remember you were in here when you did it. Like the banner I had on YouTube where it said Fast Life and it had the pictures of me and all my friends in it.
Is it from the ugly Christmas sweater thing or
No,
something
no.
different?
It was a banner on YouTube. It was I had it there for like 5 years.
Oh shit.
And it was just Fast Life and it had like a picture of like in the letters itself was like random pictures of all of us.
Oh yeah.
And like I was like, you think you can do this real quick? And he's like, yeah. And then it's like, you did it. I was like, fuck it, I can't figure it out.
I don't remember doing that at all. I remember recently seeing that.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like I don't know enough about Photoshop to do everything I can imagine.
Yeah.
But every time if I can figure out the key words of what I'm thinking to search it, I can usually figure out how to do some of it.
You don't want to know how to do it all. It's such a waste of brain power.
Well, I like graphic design, and I'd like to find a way to use more of my images to make graphic design type stuff out of it, to use it in different ways. You know, like we were talking downstairs before we started doing this, like printing photography has been a great, it's been fun, but I don't think it's that desirable yet, but maybe graphic design posters using these images might be another way to kind of, put the things out there that have more like this is a Fast Life thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not just like.
It's all within marketing and design and photography and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like I design all my logos and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use Illustrator.
I don't know how to use it for sure.
But I have a sign program that we work in vectors in. When I like draw stuff to like logos to paint and stuff, I make stencils. Mm-hmm. So all my logos I've always drawn on that program, and then I'll export it as a vector file, and then drop it into a Adobe Illustrator, then convert it into something I can use. So I just find workarounds, but
like I think that's me even trying to do like logo design stuff. iPad, great for it because the smooth line stuff, but Photoshop is a little hit or miss. It's a little bit more difficult to make it look smooth.
Yeah.
And then really it's all just skill of knowing how to paint a straight line. But
well, you can turn something on the iPad so it'll straighten it out for you.
Yeah. The cheating is a lot easier on an iPad than it is in Photoshop or real life.
Yeah. So when you were shooting, like you started doing this stuff with Jason and those guys, like how did that, were you already dabbling in things like Flash and going that direction, or were you just kind of like?
I've always been, I want to say since I took a commercial photography class, like pre-AP in high school. I think it's probably my senior year. So around like 2012 or 2014 or something. Mm-hmm. Pretty young. But we had Flash in there, and I fell in love with it. It was like, oh shit, this is how I can take the same photo like we were talking about for Born Free stuff. Like I can take the same photo, but it's a completely different photo. And like, I don't know, that just always struck me as something like way cooler. And then that's also what I was getting into with the Photoshop stuff before I even had a Flash, was just like manually painting what would look like a Flash was in it. Yeah. But really it's just a flat image, and then just paint it
separate it, like masking it all off.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I figured too. Like the programs that we use to like edit these images, you can, I mean, if you shoot it right, you can kind of almost make it look like that, where it has the, you're kind of backlit like it's a sunset photo, but then if you're taking a photo of somebody and the sunset's behind them, to get the sunset in focus, or not focus, but in the right light, what is it called? Exposure.
Yeah.
The person you're, shooting is going to be dark. It's going to be like a silhouette, right?
Yeah.
So the Flash helps illuminate them while giving your background the definition, the exposure that you want, which gives it that very contrasty look a lot of times, but it's also like more dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, is a better way to put it.
I've always liked the more dramatic, like, because before, because I did skate park stuff, and then I actually kind of joined the circus and was doing circus photography. My chick just found out about that, and that was a fun little conversation. And then I was kind of doing portraits, and I forget what it's called now. Like the heavily edited, like photo manipulations. That's how I got into Photoshop, was learning photo manipulation stuff. And then trying to tie that with the portrait stuff and kind of having like proper Photoshop ethics.
Yeah.
I remember we had a whole day of that in school of, you know, like if you got a
Photoshop
unibrow,
ethics.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like, you know, don't make, I remember we watched a video where somebody turned a slice of pizza into a smoking hot chick in a bikini. That improper ethics for photoshopping,
Okay.
you know, like making the fake girl,
Yeah.
unrealistic shit. And so like kind of started
Take a
toning
whole
it
new
down.
turn for food porn.
Dude,
Right?
I gotta show that video's got to be up somewhere, dude. I'll show it to you. Pepperoni. It's a new definition of pepperoni nipples. That's all. That's
Right.
what I remember. But
Sick.
yeah, I don't even know where I was going with all that.
Well, yeah. So when you're shooting these bikes and stuff like that, like what? Because you came on the scene pretty heavy, like pretty quick. It seemed like all of a sudden, like you had some. I still think some amazing shots of Scott, Chemical Candy. The riding shot you got of him a long time ago on that bike was still one of my favorites. That, and then you shot a little bit for Stag. The early, like the Texas issue of Choppers magazine. You shot pretty much all of that, right?
That one was a funny story because how Jason hit me up for him and Waz.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, so the cover of the Texas issue, that's the photo that we shot. So we were trying to do a Buddha and the Bulldog rescue bike night thing at the
Last Stand.
the Last Stand, yeah. So we did all the photos, and then COVID hit. So it kind of got shoved back, and we never did it. So the photos just sat there.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Jason's close with Carrie and Choppers Mag and all that stuff. And then so that's what sprung me shooting, the majority of Choppers Mag Texas issue was just from that one photo that got scrapped.
Yeah, I remember because my wife was working at Brass Tacks when she said she was there when they were shooting all that stuff. And those days were good, man. When the Last Stand was up and all that, like that Thursday night bike night was kind of like we got to go do some chopper shit with y'all, but we didn't have to ride all the way to Denton to go do it. You know what I'm saying? So it was just right down the street where we already hang out. And it was a good vibe for a while.
Yeah. I don't think I ever went out there for any of those bike nights.
They were small, but they were intimate, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know?
the good stuff.
Yeah. It's like everybody that showed up was pretty chill and pretty cool. And I still like Bishop Arts and that area is still like my favorite part of town to be in.
Yeah. It's just a little too much of a drive for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it down there.
No, I get it, man. That's the way Denton is for us.
Yeah.
It's like
it's different too, like coming around Dallas to like get down here, but like fucking going straight into Dallas, then you got to deal with all the shit.
Yeah, it's a fucking drive, man. And the Denton bike night is like off the highway, like a good couple of miles.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but it's if you're coming off 35, you've got to actually go through Denton to get to it, and it's right in the middle of Denton. So
yeah, to me, like that's like, man, you know how hard it is to get from the spot to the highway when you got a little buzz going on.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, dude, I don't even want to take that chance. But I wish it was closer. I'd love to go out to more of those things.
They're not even. I want to say Wetzel. I think they're doing them like once, roughly a season. Like I think the last one of this year's coming up.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, like the real plan on them is like 4 a year now.
Oh, like do one every quarter kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, Denton Burnout Show was fun as hell. We had a blast at that. But we also got a hotel up there, so we just leaned into the whole thing.
Yeah, you said you're not coming up to Denton unless you're sleeping there anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, because
that's the way to do it. Like,
yeah,
that's the whole reason a lot of these, like even full-on shows, like if it's just a one-day show, it's like I don't want to get all my shit together to just go spend an afternoon out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it needs to be more than that.
No, I feel you on that. Yeah, the magazine thing. How has it been shooting for magazines though? Like, 'cause I mean, obviously, I'm a big fan of magazines. I think that they definitely serve a purpose still. Uh, how does it like? Do you think it's affected the way you shoot much?
Um, as far as like the style that I had, probably whenever I met you, more of like the heavily edited to not really doing much now. Yeah.
Mm.
Honestly, yeah, because I've always looked at article kind of photography. I forget what it's called, but
Like it's more like
journalistic.
Yeah.
Is like, I'm not trying to talk shit, but
Yeah.
it's always seemed to me more like just kind of run and point and shoot type
Yeah.
shit, which is like that's how you understand what's actually going on in those, versus more of the staged and like, hey, let's do this for like, in my head at the time was like a Playboy cover that's like methodical, thought out, like there's a little Easter egg in there somewhere. So it's changed a lot. Because
that's a good point. The other magazines that I'd worked with in the past, like I argued with them a lot on like shooting, like what is like, you got, in one way they kind of bitched at me because they didn't really want to lean into photography much. So I'm like, that's 50% of your magazine is what people see. And the other 50% is the words that you choose to put in there. So,
and half of those dudes can't even read.
Exactly. So it's like, they would shoot a bike, like they would go to Daytona and they would just like pick some bikes. Oh, let's go shoot it on the beach right now. It's like 1 p.m. Like there's no, I don't know, the shooting photography of people, you kind of get a little bit more connected to the person or the bike or whatever. And when you're just like blatantly, let's put it on the beach, midday sun on it's just like they're blown out images. It looks like shit. There's not much like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Like the images don't move me.
Yeah.
It gets a little boring.
I feel like too is that there's not, with a lot of the nice and cool shots, at least more recently of like magazine covers, there's a backstory to them. Like you might see like all the images look good, but I think, trying to think of like, so we just shot Steve Bates' bike, and Steve and I had talked 4 years ago or something about shooting his bike, and he always wanted to have like a goat for whatever reason.
A goat?
He wanted to have a goat, and we did not make the goat happen for that shoot.
Oh shit! Got me hyped.
But we got everything else that we had talked about for that shoot like set up in there. But when you see the pictures, you're not going to know that. But it's more of a behind the scenes sort of like, oh shit, like this is cooler. There's a picture of Honky Tonk Honey in like black, and there's Daryl's fucking hand with a rag sticking out of the bottom of it. That photo is a complete ripoff of an Easy Rider cover. But unless you know that, then
well, I don't think I wouldn't call it a rip. I think inspired.
It was more
by
of a we were just trying to copy it. It was at Fandango. I was like, hey, let's fucking Easy Rider's cool. Let's do a little.
It's an ode.
Yeah, an ode to Easy
yeah.
Rider. Like, let's bring like little Easter egg type shit.
I remember Billy Childress, another great photographer out of North Carolina. He did this whole run where he recreated some of the David Mann paintings.
Yeah.
And they were like sick. I was like, fuck, that's cool.
Fuck yeah.
It's, I don't know, it's fun. It's like an idea and you get to see it come to life. But I think that like what I was getting at too is it's one thing when you're capturing an event, right? You're running around, you can't control when you're shooting, because this event's taking place at this time, right? Yeah. The races or the flat track.
Fucking all over, especially out there.
And so in the flash, like the way you shoot at events is only really good within a decent focal length.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to go set the flash way over there, and then you're coming back here, and then every time they whole shot out of the race, like then your flash is working.
Yeah.
To get something different. But you kind of it just gets complicated. But that's like, I guess when I think about the magazine that I want to make, it's more personal. It's more in your face. It's more thought of.
It helps too, because it's, especially with digital, like we were talking, it's like it's real easy to just fucking hold the shutter and take 1,000 photos, like, and then you add the flash and it's like, okay, well now they're too far, okay, they're too close. But the main thing is the recycle time on it. Like middle of the day for Born Free, like the flash has to be turned all the way up to
Overpower it,
anything, and so it's gonna take one shot,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna be out, and like that's it. Like Dan hitting Nick at the end of that drag, like I didn't even turn around, I didn't even see it. I was like, because I already knew, I was like, I got one shot, like I'm gonna get the picture while he's in front of me, and then I'm gonna start setting up for the next guy.
A buddy of mine was right behind them and got the whole thing on video.
Dude,
I forget who it was.
Video is so sick.
Yeah. How close were you to that when Dan hit?
You talking about Schultz?
Schultz.
Yeah.
I had just crossed over to the other side, and I like just watched it go. I was like, "Oh!" And I just remember thinking, because me and him were just there talking. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that could have been bad."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, somebody, I think Reno or somebody had said something to Schultz about, hey, you probably shouldn't sit out there.
Dude, like
the funny thing is that's where I was
so bad, because
So
like
I was sitting there, and
on the outside, like in the lane, because he was sitting in the lane.
Oh no!
Like
so
I sat on the edge.
So I was on the I was on the hay bale, like kind of leaning over, but I
Yeah.
was right there next to him, and then he was right there just past me.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those things where it's like, hey man, don't do that stupid thing. Like when somebody says like, oh, like don't ride without a helmet or something. Like if you're at like a skate park or on the bike.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shut the fuck up, man. Like whatever. Like obviously I know I could get hurt, but like,
Yeah, I'm
fuck
choosing
off.
that. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Sometimes it happens and you get that fucking like, oh fuck. Like there's instant karma and there's the opposite whenever you get fucking insta karma'd.
Yeah, dude. It's like you couldn't. I mean, not that Dan, like, it was so fluke that it felt like Dan planned it.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you, like, he veered off on the left side, like to the inner part of the lane. And then, it's the end of the day of it too,
Yeah.
because of all the ruts that were in the deal. You kind of get taken wherever the ruts want you to go. And it took Dan off. He tried to steer back in, and then
And it
just
spit him
beeline
right.
straight
I
to
love
him.
how I was talking to a bunch of the guys and everybody was like, oh, like the right lane's way better. Like it's all fucking like loose over here and shit. I'm like, yeah, dude, because the fucking other end, like, I don't know if none of them even went over there before they were being like, oh, that the grass is greener on the other side. It's like, dude, did you see the fucking ruts on the right side? They were fucking like 5 inches deep.
Damn.
So fucking like, yeah, Dan was on the outside of him and then just fucking like caught it and he was trying to stay out of him, goes up the hill a little, goes back up. And
Yeah.
fuck.
I was on the other side of the other lane, but I had the 70 to 200 on me. So I was shooting the guy coming, and I saw what happened, but I wasn't shooting it. But then as soon as I saw what happened, I was like, oh, I should be shooting this. And I stood up and started snapping a few, but it was just like Dan had already wrecked. And I got a shot I liked because right when he was getting up, he put his hand up.
Yeah.
And I got that shot. I was like, oh, that's cool. But there's so many people that it's like it would need some separation editing wise to make it stand out more. And I just didn't feel like doing it.
I like how I got to experience it, even though I was there, because I didn't turn around. So by the time I turned around, Schultz was already getting up, and I was like, okay, nobody's dead.
Yeah, yeah.
But, he said he was good. He walked off, and then I'm like, okay, like he got hit. Maybe it wasn't that bad. And then the first one that I saw was AJ's photos of it. But AJ's sitting basically like right across, like parallel to him. So his whole sequence of shots is like there's not a lot of movement because it's all straight down. So I saw those first and I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, he was going fucking like maybe like 4 miles an hour by the time he hit him. And then I saw the video. I was like, oh, nah, dude. AJ's photos did not do justice. Like that dude got trucked.
It pushed it all the way back. It probably pushed it back 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I did hit Schultz up. He is okay now.
Yeah, he is.
But
He came by the campsite later on that night.
Yeah.
We're like, bro, are you alive inside?
Fucking dude, it's gotta feel like what's funny too is the guy that went right after him, like this is proof that I'm a fucking moron. Because I don't know if you noticed, but right after Schultz got hit, I sat 2 haystacks down and did the exact same thing. And I got a shot of a guy that almost hit me,
Yeah.
and he's probably about that far away from the camera lens, and I got the shot, and I was like, oh fuck, thank God I got the shot.
Well, you remember Nitty Gritty last year? I that was the first time I had my new camera, and I was out there kind of trying to learn how to use that one, and it shoots so fast. I burned through a whole like 500
Yeah.
500 gig card because I was shooting 30 frames a second on it, and I caught the whole wreck. There's a nice wreck that took place out there, but man, shooting chopper drags is like, it's like photography gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as long as you're moving around and getting different angles, perspectives, like you can get a lot of cool shit.
Fandango is my favorite.
For real.
Like, especially because you can get the whole the stands in the background, and the dirt there is so fucking just that perfect brown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh yeah, dude, everything looks great. Then you're covered in dirt by the time you go.
There's something about like my favorite shot of that is the rooster tail coming up, and it's just like, yeah, dude, like it just hits. I've seen your photos from Fandango, and yeah, dude, they're my favorite because there's such a depth of field from the stands where everybody's sitting to it almost feels like you're there alone.
Yeah.
But in the image you can see that there's people watching, people are cheering, but they're so separated and like it, dude. Yeah, they're killer.
It's a lot more open too.
Yeah,
because
it's like that.
Yellow Rose, they've got to fence some stuff off and then all that stuff. But
can you get down there like on the like pretty close to where the chopper drags are going? Or are you watching it from a distance? Yeah.
Oh no, dude, he's like
I walk up
right there.
Yeah, but
I got in trouble last year for trying to get onto the flat track races, which was funny. I don't know why, but I seem to have beef with the fucking flat track guys everywhere I go.
For real?
Because it's always a third party doing them. So obviously I didn't know this at the time for last Fandango.
Yeah.
So Audra's like, hey, we got to make sure you sign the waiver and stuff. Like, oh, yeah. Sign the waiver, get a wristband. So obviously, like, I'm buddies with everybody running the event and like, okay, I think I'm all good. I didn't know that there was a third party running the flat tracks out there. So I just hopped the fence farther down and like went in. Nobody said anything. Taking a couple photos and like, all right, I got to go switch out batteries. Let me run back to the car. And I'm leaving. I go through like the main entrance. Everybody flips shit on me. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? I'm like, I don't know. What
were they bitching about? Did they have somebody
else? They were
like,
where the fuck is your wristband at? I was like, it's right here, man. I signed the waiver. Like, we're good. He's like, no. This is a different fucking waiver, man. And they start bitching. And they're like, go sign the waiver. Like, you got to fucking be on the waiver. I'm like, all right, I'll sign it right now. I'm already done. But like, I'll sign it. Like, there's no fucking problem here.
Yeah.
So I got to go sign the waiver and you got to fucking pay to sign it. And I was like, all right, you guys don't get photos then. See ya.
Yeah, fuck that.
Like, so I just dipped. But like, yeah, them for Fandango, like whatever, I didn't know it was a third party. And then I guess at Born Free too, like I was supposed to take photos of the flat track races. Were there flat track races?
I feel like I didn't even see them. I thought I saw mini bike races.
So I think the problem was they did them really early in the day at like, I want to say between like 10 and 11. And man, at Born Free, everyone was just starting to like have a pulse at 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
So there was nobody like there.
I don't think there was like real flat track races. I've seen other photos where I was like, I didn't know that happened. Like,
yeah, like
it was...
I saw Mark running around like running stuff, but I don't know.
I didn't see him racing anybody though.
He did. I just don't know anyone that actually was like at there when they ran.
I think because I walked down there at the time that like they were supposed to start. And there was two guys on the track just not even racing. They're just checking it out. And then I asked the guy down there, I was like, hey, what's going on with this? He's like, oh, it's not really happening. They're just having some fun. I was like, oh, okay then. So I fucked off.
Maybe nobody actually like signed up and paid to
flat
track. I don't know.
It's a big ass track.
Photos look good. So like, it looked like there was more people. Maybe like later on more people were fucking around at the same time, but I don't know if there was like a legit.
When you go to like Mama Tried and Flat Out Friday, like the center part is just nothing but photographers everywhere.
Yeah. I've seen that is on the bucket list. I want to go to that. So bad.
I would like to just. I mean, I'm sure I can walk away with a decent photo here and there, but like, I don't know. Sometimes that's where I really like being the guy that carries around a camera, is just like going into shit like that, getting access. And then I feel like I'm such an imposter though when I'm in there. I'm like, I wonder if they think I'm good or something like that, you know? But when you do these events like the Born Freeze and just all of them, like, what do you enjoy most? Like the shoot.
1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a chopper photographer, but like I was saying earlier, it's like I take photos of people and there's choppers in the background, or they're from the chopper scene, but that's really it.
It's got to feel great to see, like, because when people see you coming around, you're like the
guy with the UFO.
You're like the ice cream man at a fucking event. Like, oh shit, he's coming. Like, let's get our guys together and get a photo real quick.
That's my favorite.
Yeah,
sometimes it doesn't always happen, but you know, whenever people know who I am or like I've talked to them, it's like, oh fuck yeah, let's get wild. And then I'll get the text of like, hey dude, don't post that. Like,
the first Born Free, I was sick as a dog that one. Born Free Texas. And you got some shots where everybody was partying at this van.
Oh yeah.
That looked fun. Like I feel like I missed out on a fucking epic fucking night. You know what I mean?
That was sick. Because I've been in this chopper scene for I guess like 4 or 5 years now, but I don't really know that many people until like it's just random people that hit me up. Then a year or two later find out like, oh cool, you do a little podcast. Like, but so it's like, yeah, it was sick as shit, dude. There's a bunch of cool fuckers there. Like I didn't know the guy from Prism was there with Haney until somebody put it on a comment. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I've been wanting to meet that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know I met him already.
We did get in some trouble, though, that one time at Southern Throwdown.
Yeah, I was going to ask, which event that was? Yeah.
So we all went to Southern Throwdown, and, you know, it was kind of, you know, I think it was the first year of Southern Throwdown, right? First year at Yellow Rose Canyon.
Yeah.
And it was like all of us, we were kind of still like, you know, we all had the baggers out there, and then you came up in the middle, and it's all in the middle of the night. We're just kind of hanging out, drinking, and you're like, hey, let's get some bikes in here and shoot some bikes. And then
I'm over there in the woods somewhere, and I'm like, oh, there's fucking Jace. I can get them rowdy.
So you talk somebody into doing a burnout on.
Don't you fucking try to put that shit on me.
I didn't tell nobody to do it. I don't even do burnouts. So.
I did not specifically instigate it. I just said, hey, let's take a photo. And they were like, and then they just started doing burnout.
Yeah. And honestly, the guy that did a burnout, I honestly don't even know who he is. It's somebody from Houston.
Yeah.
But he was hanging out.
Was that the guy with the rhino lined bike?
Yes, it was. Yeah. I seriously do not know who this person was. And I fucking got my ass reamed out by fucking rhino.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I didn't even do anything.
Because Rhino and I were staying at the loft, and he had already well past like went to bed and shit. And so I get back to the loft after all that, because I had told the guys too. I was like, hey dude, fuck, like you fucked up the ground, like stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously I'm like, fuck, I have to tell Rhino, like some fucking people got a little rowdy and left some tread on the fucking pavilion. And
I put my hammock up in between the two posts.
Yeah.
And I slept there that night. But he didn't say anything to me in person. It's just like I got a message a couple of days later. I'm like, yo, dude, I didn't do it.
I think I didn't get to deliver the news to him very well. He basically like woke up, and I immediately was like, hey man, do you want some bad news now, or do you want some coffee first? And he was like, fucking tell it to me. I'm like, all right, man, some burnouts happen. We shut it down, but the ground's a little marked up. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I didn't really understand. I mean, I understand like it was like a concrete, like tiled thing at a
bike
event.
Yeah.
That, you know.
I know we've talked about it. It's like.
I mean, like I said, I understand. I just think that it's probably not the best place to.
Somebody was going to do it at some point.
You know, and then if you tell people not to do it, then someone's going to do it because fuck you. That's why. You know what I mean?
Like, you know, you can have some like common sense or some like extra respect for like not doing that. But if you don't even think about it yourself, can you really blame somebody else for doing it if you didn't think about it?
Yeah. I like to use this example. Down South Camp Out 2021, we did this. Our buddy Sit Down Steve does a burnout in a bar. This bar was being just the worst people to us. They do the burnout in the bar to say fuck you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it goes viral, all this other bullshit. Literally 1 month later, I'm at fucking Fuel Cafe at Mama Tried, and they're helping a guy pick up a bike to put on the bar to do a burnout in the bar, which has now became like a staple thing that happens at every Mama Tried event. So it's the concept of like, I think we ride bikes in general because there's so many rules in every aspect of our life that you want to have this freedom to get out and kind of, you know, you can kind of do things on a motorcycle that you can in a car. You can go to these things that are more fringe lifestyles, if you will. And the last thing you want to do is go to this place where there's already enough rules because it's an event and you got to have all these things in place to be able to put on an event.
Yeah.
Last thing you want to do is like, oh, well, we can't do this and we can't do that. Like, obviously,
there's like other ways of thinking about it that you could get away with, like for burnouts. Like,
don't do a burnout in one of the houses
or something like that. Like they still do a burnout every year, but they always grab that little kiddie pool and Justin rips it in the water. Then it doesn't fuck up the ground and we don't get in trouble. But we still do a little fun burnout.
Yeah, so you find a workaround. Yeah, that makes sense.
There ain't no kiddie pool at Yellow Rose.
I just like the I don't know. I like the idea of, you know, you put on this event and obviously you don't want to destroy things, but you know, like bikers got to leave their mark, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like, man, there's.
How's it any different than in the bathroom? There's fucking penis drawings everywhere.
Yeah. It's like the dog that has to pee in the corner just to mark its territory. We gotta let them know we're here.
Well, it's like you always see those like just ridiculous signs of like, oh, don't do this. That's some like, well, no shit. Can't think of an example, but you always look at it and you're like, damn, somebody had to have done that for them to make a sign for it. And so it's, you know.
I always think of that sign. It's obviously Photoshop where it has that like bird sitting on top of the sign that has a crossed out exact silhouette of the bird, and it's just like fuck you. It's like I probably have to put like a little like image in the video so people know what the hell I'm talking about. But I don't know, man. I in this day and age where things are like events, you almost need every event needs some kind of viral aspect to it to
for them you gotta have marketing.
You know, I think Rusty Butcher coming to Born Free Texas this year was a big like good. I mean, he dominated in everything he did. You know, kind of showed the I guess the not as good people on the dirt as he is. I'm
surprised of all people that did crash that it was Dan.
Yeah, like I said, if he it was ruts. I mean, Dan's a good rider, so those ruts were just gnarly right there. I don't know, man. Like what's been your favorite event to shoot that you done over these last 4 or 5 years?
If we're talking from the beginning, Shed Run.
Shed Run? Okay.
Shed Run was what started everything. That's whenever I actually like fell into the scene. Mm-hmm. Scott had me come out to that, and I shot for 3 days straight. I slept probably 3 hours the entire weekend, and I just took photos.
What's your mindset going into these type of events to shoot? Like, how do you...
I'm a fucking awkward motherfucker, dude. And I don't get to bring my bike because I bring all the photo stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, that's how I socialize. Just take photos. So, like, that's how... Like, everybody's always like, oh, he's working so hard. It's like, no, dude, like, I don't know how to talk to a motherfucker without this. Like...
Yeah.
So...
Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands. So
yeah,
I
dude, like...
I gotta do
I have to have a fucking camera, otherwise, like, I don't know what the fuck to talk to you about. Like...
Yeah.
I've tried
the
to
camera's your
at
fidget spinner. It's just what you
exactly.
have. You're like, I gotta
say
push
cheese while we have this conversation while I hold this light right up in your face.
Yeah, I guess you get used to doing these events, so it just becomes you're in your backyard playing again, basically, right? So, but how did you get to the point where you like had the foresight to know that you wanted to get it? Because if you ever go to a big ride like Sturgis or like you go ride down the Teledragon, there's photographers everywhere. And you're like getting a shot, and then you see the big sign that says photos.com, and then you're like, okay, well, what time is it? And then you go back on their deal, and there's like times, and it's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shots. And you like kind of like when you go to your stuff, you can buy the image, buy a print, do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember when you first started doing the events and had all the pictures so people could buy? Because you told me about it, like, oh, dude, you got to do this thing. And I was like, man,
I think it was after the throwdown.
I think it was, yeah. And but like that was in for years I've been bitching, oh, I'll never make money shooting photography. And now I'm like, I think I'm scared to make money because I could have easily done what you did, but I felt like that wasn't my lane or whatever. But I commend you on doing it because it every time you go to an event, you're shooting thousands of images and you're kind of like going back and being able to take more skills home and experience home, and you just compound interest after that and get better at it, you know?
Yeah. You get to like, it's like its own version of photography.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know even how I fucking found SmugMug or the website hosting shit for it, but I think it started with, because Shedrun, I got invited out by Scott, but we were kind of planning at the same time, was like, hey, let's put this in a magazine because this is just a cool event.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously all the photos are 3 days of just a bunch of people fucking around in the woods.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, I want to give all the photos to like all the dudes, but like, you know, these are also for the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I got to actually send anybody their photos for the first like year and a half while we waited for it to come to print. So that's kind of where the idea came from, was just like, yeah, we shot everything for the magazine, but like the people want the photos, and that's also the reason they're going to go buy the magazine too. But it's then you get this weird little half and half of like, well, do we want them to buy the magazine so they can get their photos, or can we just send them their photos too?
Well, wouldn't you just like go through it and find the ones for the magazine and not have those available for purchase?
I mean, but those are the majority of the photos.
For real?
Just partying. Obviously, maybe there's like a handful of shit that's like, oh, like the shed itself or the bikes and shit, but it's like that's always going to be some guy's bike or some chick's bike, and they're going to want that photo.
Nice, yeah. Do girls still dump them out much on these photos, or is that
not at Born Free?
Yeah, that's the fun thing about going through those, is just seeing, oh look, been wanting to see those.
It's funny as shit. You know what it is everybody's getting older and they're trying to be a little bit more tame.
Yeah.
Realizing that some photos might be out there for a while.
Forever. The internet is forever.
Just a little bit of time.
Dude. Just for a while.
Really, it's Taylor. Taylor's calmed down.
Yeah.
She's the one that was always the party chick. It's her and Eric's lady, the hussy hollerer. They're always fucking nitty gritty. She was going around all night just she's like, where are all the hussies at? Trying to get chicks for photos at Nitty Gritty.
Well, I mean, I buy a lot of old school, like In the Wind. Like when I see these magazines come across, like whether it's like at the vintage shops or, swap meets, things like that. Like I like getting those magazines. It's cool to see not just the fact that there are some girls and they're dumping them out from back in the day. There's probably a grandma at least by now. But to me, it's just kind
part of the culture. Like,
yeah. You see these cool bikes and the way that, who was it? I was talking to somebody, another photographer that made me look at these old photos in a different way from a photography standpoint.
Yeah.
And it was the fact that like the In the Wind and these parts of like Easy Rider back in the day where it was kind of like user submitted photos. Mm-hmm. This is the way that people just shot random stuff back then before they could see what it was going to look like. Before, now in the context and the way this individual was telling me this was nowadays it's like everybody's taking so many selfies of themselves that they kind of have a different perspective of the way they look and the way they act in a camera frame as opposed to back in the day. Like you just didn't have that many pictures taken of you. Yeah. And it's another like testament. Like when I airbrush on top of helmets, and one of the biggest things that people would ask for is like, I want to put a picture of my dad or my grandfather on here. And then they almost have no images. Yeah. Really. It's a Polaroid from 86 because that's the favorite photo of it. But I'm like, how the fuck do I like blow this up big enough? Polaroid itself is only a 4-inch photo. It's like, how do I blow this up and put it on a helmet? There's not enough detail in it, but yeah, I mean, I mean, honestly, we were talking a little bit before we were live or we started recording. When my grandfather passed away, that's whenever it made me really want to shoot photography, like take it serious.
Yeah.
Because I realized I had nothing. I mean, I've had some photos of my grandfather, but not enough, not enough to really justify how many photos I had of my motorcycle or, some other, not as important figure in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then taking it on the road with me when I go with my friends and we do these travels, like that was kind of like how you talked about, like going to the skate park and capturing these moments. I found a lot of joy out of shooting my friends on these events or these travels that we would do together.
It's a time capsule.
It
like
is.
It's a digital scrapbook. Like it's not all prints now.
Yeah.
Because of how much stuff is digital, but like I think last week I was going through because I was trying to make some folders for like people specifically for like over the years, like all of Oliver's photos over the last 5 years into like one thing just for him. And it's like, damn, dude, like these are sick. Like the photos are shit. Fucking a lot of them are, but it's like, damn, dude, like it's been a good fucking time we've had, like doing all this shit.
Yeah. I mean, I there's definitely an argument to be made that like, put it like this, when you record a video on your phone, how often do you really go back and look at the video versus the photo? I feel like a video that I would like if I took a bunch of clips and made a reel out of it or a video, like something I'm going to put out there, I feel like, I look at that quite a bit, but that's a lot more effort to tell this little.
I feel like, if you're not posting it on Instagram and then just kind of like going through your Instagram scrapbook, then I never look at those old videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we have a tendency to do those, and then all you do is later you're like, why? Oh, I need to delete that. I need to delete that. Like it's just taking up space. Like I don't know why I recorded that at the time. Yeah, photos are different though.
Maybe it's kind of too is like it's a lot easier to just number one, you can see the photo versus you probably see like a fucking
clip of the video
for the fucking video, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
And it's easier just to like, it's faster to look at a photo and then it's sort of like, that's TikTok before TikTok. It's going through your old photo roll and be like, oh shit.
I mean, I don't know if you guys do this, but every once in a while when I get feeling real nostalgic, I'll go back to the beginning of my Instagram.
Oh yeah.
And just like, oh shit. Yeah.
I think I did this a very long time ago, is that I deleted every single photo and then made the very first post. I think it's like a picture of my eye or something, being like, why the fuck are you creeping so hard? So that like that way years later, if you ever scroll down all the way.
Yeah, just be a reminder.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of brands would do that. When they first came out to Instagram, they would like, have all this content that goes out. And then it got to the point where it's like, oh, you got like 7 million followers, but you got 6 images on your profile. Like, come on, man. Like, I want to see the evolution of your brand.
Yeah.
And the same way, like, I like to look back at my stuff to see my evolution, because it's kind of like, anything that changes in small increments, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to notice when you're living it.
I was asking you if you edit photos heavily, just because I specifically do it usually once a year around January, is that I've got a photo from high school that I've got like the raw image of that I remember editing for school. And then every single year to 2 years, I'll pull back open the raw image and edit it from scratch and then lay them all out to see how that's interesting. Yeah, my style has changed over the years, even though it's all from the exact same raw image. That's
actually really, really good idea. When I started my photography page, right, which I don't really put enough effort into it, but I like having it. The first couple of images that I put out are so heavily edited.
Yeah.
Like let's just say the first handful, like quite a bit of them, you can just see it. It's just like, goddamn, when I look back at it, I feel like, what? Goddamn, all the way to the end with the sliders on all of them, dude. Like, it's just complicated, But over time, you kind of like go to these extremes. And at the time, I was like, this is sick looking. But then it's as you dive more and more into photography, and you start seeing it as more of a gimmick than an actual like, powerful image or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I remember going back, and especially since I did it recently, is like looking at stuff from even only like 2 years ago. I'm like, why the fuck would anybody let me post this? Let me put it in a magazine. This looks horrible.
Yeah.
Looks like a fucking kindergartner threw his way through Photoshop with some crowns. And then it's like, okay, looking at the recent stuff, and then Halloween, Nate wanted to do like a little like Ghost Rider Photoshop for his Halloween costume and put some flames on it.
Yeah.
And so I realized like last week that, damn, I haven't color graded anything in a long time. But all I did was like kind of color grade it, and I didn't do all the other Photoshop shit that I was doing before. And it's like, well, shit, like that's how you kind of find your style. Like, hey, like I could do all this. Okay, now I've lost some of that stuff, but like now I'm just shooting kind of raw, and then it's like, oh, I like this part too. Let me start doing that again. But
Have you dabbled much in black and white?
dude, I can't ever. I don't know why. I don't have the eye for it.
That's interesting. What do you think you don't have about it? Because it might be the same reason I feel like I don't either.
I can never get the contrast right between the blacks and the whites. Because, I mean, my stuff's typically on the higher contrast, poppy colors. And black and white kind of like kills a lot of it. And then it just starts to... I think if I tried with the goal in mind to shoot something in black and white, I don't think I've ever tried to shoot something for black and white.
So last December, I'm going to do it again this year. I was calling it monochromatic December or something like that. Something like that.
That don't rhyme. Come on.
It doesn't, but fucking whatever. Was it? How did I say it? I remember I was doing it last December.
No, I do remember you had like, you basically, I remember you put out like just a collection.
I did a collection
over the month and everything, like no color, anything.
Yeah. I did like I went back and looked at a lot of images and edited them in black and white. And then everything I posted was a black and white image for that month on all 3 pages. And, I mean, I still don't, I guess my problem with black and white is I feel like everything looks good. So how do I I can't accept that that's a good image just because I turned it black and white.
See, and I'm the opposite. I hate everything that I do in black and white.
I feel like it saves, but it seems like what makes a good black and white image is the complicated question. And then when you go through and start editing or use some like presets that other people have made that I've got my hands on, and then you throw it on there, you're like one, the sky's dark, the next it's blown out. Like it's like so many different variations. Same way with color. But I will say that like certain black and white images, like when I was thinking about doing this book, I thought about doing it all in black and white because when you shoot black and white, like the time of day doesn't really matter. Yeah. Like if it's a sunny day, it has a good look. If it's a cloudy day, if it's a midday, it's like black and white kind of saves you from the tonal range of colors. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't just see I forgot his name. The guy that does the video and the photo for EasyCo. Rev something on Instagram.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I know, but I need more.
He just posted all of his like, I think it was him that just did like a big dump of black and white stuff from Born Free. And usually like I look at black and white photos, I'm not really a fan, but like, yeah, he had like something else that was like, damn, okay, hold on, black and white's kind of fucking sick. Like those look really good.
That's what I did. I put all mine in black and white too.
Maybe it was yours.
No, it wasn't mine. I don't think it's that. Thank you for the comment, maybe, but it's
it could be.
I did it on my Fast Life Visuals page. I made a carousel, and I used like a program to make it to where it had like tears in each carousel.
Oh, I did see that one too. Yeah.
And it makes you crop in on some of the images, but I was trying to just
I gotta get that from you because that looks sick as fuck.
I liked it. I mean, I liked the look, and it was like I was saying about the Photoshop thing. It's like it's a way to like add a little bit more on social platforms, whatever. Add another layer of like attention to like the images.
It's different,
and but yeah, there was great light at Born Free the entire time,
Yeah.
especially when the sunsets were going down. But I don't know. I'm just in this black and white mood. You know what I mean? That
I need to try it.
yeah. On my camera last December, you can change the profile obviously to a black and white profile, so you're seeing black and white in the viewfinder.
Yeah.
And so I shot a lot that way last year, but then it still gives you a color image. It's just a view, like the viewfinder is just in that. It's like
give you a better idea what it's going to look like.
I mean, you could put all those color profiles on the camera and it'll show you that almost edited in the camera. But then of course, when it goes to Lightroom, if you shot a raw image, it's more flat and neutral, I think is a common way to look at it.
Yeah.
But what do you think, like as far as like, I mean, obviously you got a job within the photography world of still shooting every day, but like, how do you see it? Is there any like goals in which, like with the photography in the space of motorcycling, that you have like any mountaintops you want to climb or anything like that, you know?
Oh, I was talking to Carrie and Jason about whenever I was working in gas, I had some fucking foreman just be a cocksucker.
Mm-hmm.
He was just talking shit, like no harm, but like, he was like, "Oh, what do you do?" Like, we were talking about photography and motorcycles and shit because he rides, and I was like, "Oh yeah, like I do some photography shit," and he's like, "Oh, what, you think you fucking shoot for Easy Rider or something?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, "Not Easy Rider, but not like,
Yeah.
shit, man." But like, you know, I can't try and defend myself. Like, no, dude, like I feel like I do some kind of cool shit. Like, no, it's not Easy Rider, but
Yeah.
it's Chopper's Mag. Like, fucking Carrie's from Easy Rider. Like,
Yeah.
it's close enough. So
Chopper's Mag's been out longer, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it has.
Don't call me out on that.
I don't know if it's been out consistently longer, but it was made before Easy Rider, I believe.
I talked to Carrie and Jason, and then obviously AJ shooting for Easy Rider now.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking good job on him.
Yeah.
Fucking but I don't want to shoot for Easy Rider, but I want to have a photo.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like how we were talking about Harley earlier, is like I want to have a photo shot for Harley and a photo shot for Easy Rider.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to fucking shoot everything for Chopper's Mag. Like, they're the fucking homies that came through way back in the day. So it's like ride or die for them.
Whenever I finished the FXR, the gold one, they're both gold, the chopper.
Yeah.
I reached out to Lichter and I was like, "Hey man, I don't know if this is possible, but for me, it was always to have a bike built that was in Easy Rider magazine."
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there are a lot more Easy Rider last, you know, especially in the new iteration of it, they're a lot more open to newer motorcycles, you know, and not all like just, I mean, they've had big wheel baggers in there. They've had, you know, a lot of different styles of bikes, but I just thought it'd be cool to have the bike in the magazine.
Yeah.
And it didn't really go anywhere. And then like, I started thinking like, well, what magazine would I be stoked to have it in? It's like, I don't know. It didn't really fit in any other magazine, to be honest with you, you know, like it's too new for like Chopper's magazine. And it's too old for like a Cycle Source and those kind of guys. You know what I mean? So
start your own.
Maybe.
Fucking, I mean, shit, dude. That's the real question, though. You're a chopper guy now.
No, I'm a well-versed motorcyclist now. Oh, okay. Like I have a lot of different loves. You got
how many more years? How many more years till the knucklehead, man?
I don't think I'll ever be able to afford a knucklehead. The thing is, like, I don't desire a knucklehead or even a panhead to be like I'm saving up to buy one. Like, if I'm saving up to buy something, it's different. Now, I'm not saying that in a couple of years that my mentality could change. Yeah. But right now, if you threw 30 grand on the table, I'm not buying a knucklehead. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to buy something more practical to help me do more of what I want to do, which is be out on the road and travel and do podcasts and stuff. So I want a newer modern bike because I got rid of I only have the chopper, the FXR chopper right now. I would like to get a new modern bike and dial it in some, customize it, and still do some easier travels on it with all my shit. Yeah. But I also plan to build like one of the next big builds is going to be a hardtail like Evo. Yeah. So newer style bike, but old school kind of like ideas or vision, if you will.
What do you think on? I've just been curious thinking about it. Like, are you going to do kind of the same sort of that? The paint you have on the FXR right now is like, that's obviously it's your paint, and like the performance bagger paint is kind of how I see it as the style.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it. I used to joke around a lot, but with some seriousness, like, and Tim O'Keefe actually explained to me this real well, because we talked about it on the first podcast, that he wanted like his paint jobs to look like they could have been made in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
So that's where like Chemical Candy does so well with like being able to, I don't mean emulate in a negative way, but create that style and that look with his paint work that fits that type of bike.
Yeah.
Like, yes, my modern looking paint, even my modern looking flames, doesn't really lend itself on a completely vintage-esque bike.
Yeah.
Or period
I mean, it
correct
works
bike.
perfect for the FXR
Exactly.
chopper.
And I mean, any kind of chopper that you're kind of making new,
Yeah.
like everything's fresh and brand new looking, it wouldn't look bad on it.
Yeah.
But yes, I do agree that there's certain styles that fit more. And it was through those conversations I started to like see it and be like, yeah, if I put my style flames on that, I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're asking me if I would go that direction, like
Yeah.
start painting. I don't know if that would be an in the moment thing, because
Yeah.
to me, like flames are kind of like they're very specific to a person. Like the way one person does their flames typically ends up becoming not their style, but they're like just kind of like they're in that lane.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good like flames, and like say back in the day when we used to paint skulls all the time, the way you did your skull and the way you did your flames was kind of like your painter's style,
Yeah.
right?
That's your signature.
It's your signature. Like if you want a Martin Brothers style flame job or a skull, like it had a definite look for it. If you wanted a hot dog, style, he had a different look. So I don't know, man. There's certain things I would like to do in that space, but also I don't know, man. Like to me, it's like I would rather build a bike and paint a bike based on like my take on my own. Like, yes, it might be a frame from this old or whatever, but I don't know. Like, you got to find a way to make it work is what I'm getting at. I don't know
I'm
that
sure you're gonna figure it out. Like, it'll look fucking sick.
or I mean, it could look cool as a tank sitting on a table, but if you put it on the bike and it doesn't go with the bike,
Yeah.
that's where it's comes into play. So, like I said, talking a lot of shit a long time ago about all these like shitty flame jobs that I used to see running around. Now I kind of understand. Okay, it needs to have that look, and so
yeah.
So there's like certain aspects to it that I can agree to.
Yeah. It kind of like forcing yourself into a style that you're not really well versed in.
Well,
like maybe
forcing yourself into it would be me making myself paint in a way that I'm not comfortable painting, right?
Yeah.
I think the way I'm trying to go about it is I'm trying to just, as what I see every day becomes more and more in that space, you start to almost think in that space. And I think through being around it more, I will start to have ideas in that genre.
Yeah,
versus
that's what I
I'm
mean.
still, kind of in this. And it's the same thing with photography. Like the more types of photography you consume, the easier you start to have an eye for that kind of look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm excited to see it because I feel like it's gonna be like if I had to guess, like if you're painting it, like it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be like a good hybrid style of your modern style, probably with like a little bit of that vintage classic.
Yeah, and
So
I
I'd be
appreciate
excited
that.
to see that.
Time will tell. See how it goes.
Maybe it'll look like shit.
It
Maybe
probably-
we'll never see
I'm
the
leaning
light of
more
day.
towards the like shit side of it, but we'll see. I don't know, man. I think right now I just like too many bikes.
Yeah.
I did tell you earlier that I've enjoyed very much so getting to know and talk to more people within the spaces of choppers, because it has been a different conversation than I've been able to have in other genres of motorcycling.
Yeah.
Mainly because a lot of the people that have built a reputation within like building choppers and things like this, they've got there's a lot of philosophy in these people. So perspectives and ideas, they come from this, because why else would you like an old bike? Why would you want to bring an old bike to life? Like you're you have some kind of sentimental nature to you. You have some kind of homage to the things of the past to understand it. And so the conversations have been much more in-depth and insightful in a way. And not to say that there's anything wrong with people that like modern bikes, but I found that the conversations around modern bikes tend to be very new, and they haven't been around long enough to have like any philosophical addition behind the
history,
concepts. Yeah.
Like such an extensive history.
Not a sophisticated palette and understanding everything. It's very superficial.
Yeah. And I think that when we talk about it, or I try to talk about it in a nostalgic way about how it was 7 or 8 years ago, it comes off more pretentious than it does like, sentimental.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, fuck, man, like,
give it another 20 years.
it needs 20 years for us to go back and talk about the early days of performance baggers. You know what I'm saying? So,
fucking when everything becomes electric, we're like, man, remember our fucking gas powered shit? That shit was awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be a scary day. Maybe not as scary as Tuesday, but we'll see.
Right.
But no, I don't know. I don't know, if someone's doing something cool, it doesn't matter what kind of bike it is on, but I like to talk to anybody,
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that there's a lot of OG kind of dudes that's been doing a lot of cool shit on choppers that are starting to kind of look at modern bikes. And I love the fact that there's going to be a difference. They're going to attack a modern style bike with a different, perspective and a different style. And I think it'll bring even more diversity towards the modern bikes, which is what it kind of needs right now.
So I do got to chime in on that. As much as I hate to stroke your ego, Jace, it's actually been kind of nice, like meeting Justin and Daryl and these guys, because like at Born Free, when I saw Daryl, like I shot a candid shot of him at the chopper drag, and he saw me, and like that like crossover is there, you know what I mean? And like Justin all the time, we talk on Instagram all the time, and like he came when we had the Sunday dinner thing. I know you were there too, but it's just cool to see that come over and like see that the appreciation is there. Yeah, it may not be your style of choice right now, but you can see that the value and the craftsmanship that goes into it is appreciated across the line. So that's kind of cool. And then they're realizing like, man, we are all the same. We like a different kind of ride, but we're genuinely all very
Dude,
similar.
we all party the same, man.
Yeah, we rock star the same fucking way.
Like if you don't have a fucking roof above your head, like it's a
same.
different experience than being in a
Right?
car.
Yeah.
Fucking, I mean, being on, a little road glide versus being on a hardtail, a little bit different, but.
Yeah, but when you go to the same type of event, you naturally gravitate towards doing the same type of shit. Like you're drinking around a fire, you're, hey, let's go walk around and see what everybody else is doing. And that's when you cross paths with Bobby and you get a fucking random shot out on the fucking dirt roads at Born Free.
Dude, I will tell you, because I've been seeing your photos for a long time. I always see like Kyle and old Dijon, and I always think to myself, like, I always thought, man, I don't know how I got to get in the cool guy club to get one of those shots, because they always look badass, and I'm like,
dude, you just come up.
You just can't be that. Like, how do you do that? You don't want to be that guy that's like, hey man, I want my picture. I want to be like the cool kids.
More people did that.
I feel like I did it a lot at Born Free. With you, I'd see you, or actually Reno as well. When he would walk up, I'd be like, "Hey, man, can you get a shot of us?" Because, like, I guess I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that like this is kind of a cool moment right now, and I don't have my camera, and it's very rare that I get to be in the shot with somebody.
Yeah.
And so I've enjoyed the fact that I've been able to. I mean, you gave me a couple prints today that was awesome to have, like a shot with all the homies around the bike. There. And then there was a couple other ones that I had liked that you got of us. The ones you got of my wife and Ashley, the one, Vincent's old lady, because Vincent and his wife busted their ass. Ashley, they busted their ass at the taco truck, the Moto Loco taco truck. And then that Saturday night, she was ready to fucking party.
She did not want photos so much. She was trying to get out of it so hard.
Yeah.
And fucking Britta's just, nah, do it.
They're in like, my wife's in sweatpants and shit. Like she went to the fucking bar comfortable. Like,
dude. Oh yeah, she fucking pulled me aside. I was like, dude, you look comfy as fuck. Like, I'm so jealous. I'm covered in dirt. And I'm like, I want that.
Yeah. But no, I think that those, like capturing those moments, and, you know, Vincent and I was talking about it at bike night, because he was saying like how she felt like, oh, I didn't want to be in the photos. I wasn't put together, whatever she felt like. But I think that photo in 5 years, it's going to resonate a lot more than it might in the time when you're thinking more about like the things that none of us are thinking about.
You don't go back through your
The self-conscious stuff.
Yeah. And like going back to how, like, you know, you go through your nostalgia and like look through your little photos that you got saved for your scrapbook and shit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't look at videos that often, but how often do you go back and be like, hey, 10 years ago, I took this selfie and I look good.
Yeah.
You ever fucking pulled up one of those? Because I haven't. I have pulled up 100 of them where like, oh, I look fucking possessed.
There was a shift that I think took place where the selfie became like, you just don't do that anymore as a dude, you know?
It is very cringy, guys, that take pictures. It's like, man, you got to be real fucking vain to be sitting there taking photos of yourself.
Besides, especially when you're like, you got your sunglasses on, you're like, oh, traffic sucks. And it's like the big phone right in front of your face. It's like, and the other sunglass has like an open field. Nothing's happening. But I feel like when Instagram first came around, you know, obviously the selfie got big whenever we started having cameras on our phones, right?
Yeah.
And
I was never a fan. Never jumped on that train.
Dude, I did it for a while. I mean, I was in the dating scene, and it was just kind of like whatever, you know. Not proud of it, not saying anything. It's just funny that it's over time that you start to like seeing your profile and seeing your shit. You start to go like, man, I look thirsty. You know what I mean? Like, I look
terrible.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know.
They're all cringy. In the moment, you think they look good, but they are all fucking cringy.
It's a lot easier to look back on a photo where you were drunk and fucked up and looked wild versus look back on a photo where you thought you looked good.
Yeah, yeah. It's a tough one, man. I don't know. Like, I still, like, my personal Instagram, if you scroll down, you could tell when I was single. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I don't know. I just feel like but something happened over time where I just felt like you start seeing it when other people do it. You know, it's kind of like you're doing it for yourself. At the time, I was like, I'll take a selfie and I'll put it out there. Like, oh, I feel like I look cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But then you start seeing other people do it, and you're like, is that what I look? Is that what when people see me do that, am I creating the same feeling? You know, they're like, fuck that. I don't know if I want to do it anymore. I really don't like posting pictures of myself unless it's in a group setting with everybody, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you got that good one of me fucking with the frog legs. Fucking.
You were working that pole, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that I think it's actually good because there is like now like little pool of photographers. And I think every one of us never had, we shoot photos of everyone else, but there's never any like photos of us. Like the photo that Reno got where like at the dirt drags, I'm walking the candid. Dude, that's my favorite photo ever. Yeah. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. And so that's the thing is that's kind of a benefit because now it's like, someone gets to shoot you in your element.
Yeah.
Because I'll have the ones where it's the homies trying to be like, oh, let me take a photo of you. And they're just fucking belligerently blacked out. So like, there's no, the only way to get through it is here you go. Take the camera, try and set everything to auto for them.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay, I think I got it. And it's like, that's the ceiling.
You're in the bottom corner.
Yeah. Like when I would do some of the road trips, like when I did when I took the FXR out for the first time last year and I needed to get some shots of it, you know, I kind of wanted a shot with me and my bike. So I would set it up, the camera, and I had Connor shoot it. So I said, look, you see, I had my buddy Bruce standing in the photo. I said, you see how he's standing? You see how I'm holding it? See where it's framed? All right. All you got to do is make sure I'm like that and just hit this button.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. And so technically he took the photo, but you know,
hey man,
there's
copyrights.
Yeah. But I don't like, I mean, I don't know. Like there's something like, there's a feeling you get when you shoot a photo of somebody else and it's a good photo. You're like, fuck man. Like when you see somebody in a way that like, maybe they don't see themselves and you're able to kind of show them that or give them that image.
You don't have the self like doubt on it whenever you're looking at a photo yourself. nobody looks at a photo themselves and is like, oh yeah, I like that. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do sometimes. Now, what like when you feel like, oh shit, like that's a cool image. I mean, you know, no matter how you like label that, it still has a pretentiousness to it, right?
yeah,
You kind of like, or a self-righteous or narcissistic thing to it. But at the same time, you know, like we used to walk in our houses as kids and there was photos of our whole family everywhere on the walls.
yeah.
You know, like you'd walk in, there's mom and dad taking pictures together for whatever. Here's us and the kids. Here's me at school every year. This is me. I'm in 7th grade now. It's like we all grew up having our photo taken for family stuff, and it used to hang in our homes, you know. And now it's like, now I got to feel. Why do I got to feel bad about wanting to have this picture of myself now at 40 years old?
Now it's Target stock photo shit that everybody has in their house.
Yeah, it's like it's a hairy fucking cow.
It's either some fucking CVS shit, or you know, maybe they're fortunate enough to have a 10 type from a old boy. But
yeah, those are cool.
Those are sick. But yeah,
I guess what I would like to do is peel back the feeling that having your photo taken or being in a photo or being happy that someone captured a good image of you. Like, I don't think that people should feel narcissistic for having that, because it was never meant to be that, you know. Like, yes, I mean, there's ways you can take that and turn it into something of a much more narcissistic nature. But for the most part, it's like, if I have a cool shot of me, yeah, I'm not going to, like, you walk in my house and the biggest picture on the wall is just me looking cool as shit. That's taking a cool image of you and going too far with it, right?
Yeah.
But having it on your profile picture or having it in, you know, in your shop or whatever, like, I guess there's nothing wrong with that.
Who would have a big picture of them on the wall, trying to be cool with their bike in a cool place? Like, I mean, who would do that?
The reason that's on the wall is because that picture tells 5 different stories. It tells the story of
conversation starter.
It tells the story of me meeting the photographer that took that there at Monument Valley, who lived in Dallas, right? Mm-hmm. It tells the story of the duct tape axle that was going on. It's the story of the bike that changed my life and direction of my brand, you know? And I'm in my favorite place in America to ride a bike. So it's like, you know, it was a cool image. And I didn't take it like I set a camera up and like went and posed in front of it like a fucking psychopath. Done that too, but
yeah, I was gonna say I got some photos like that.
But I mean, for the most part, like I think that's the only photo that's in here or in the shop. I mean, that was a gift. You know, that's a photo of me, my brother, and Scott formerly of Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. That was a gift when we built the studio.
Yeah,
that they printed that out because that was taken at the very first podcast that we ever did, 2018 January, and you know, both my brother and Scott wrote a little message on it. So I think those are the only 2 photos of me personally hanging up in this entire shop.
There you go. Okay.
The group shot, but that's different. That's totally different.
Another photographer that we met on the road that shot that panorama of us.
That one's fucking.
Dude,
I want to hang it up there, but I haven't had a chance to get like a ladder and get in here and fucking rehang it since we have a change in the studio.
Figured out. We got 3 of us.
We'll fall through the floor.
What's I've been meaning to ask you then, like, you know, like, I've known you for a while, but like, what was the whole history of starting the podcast? I mean, I know that with Simpson and stuff, I know you're doing paint.
Well, the podcast started because I was on Danger Dan's podcast, and then that got me listening to podcasts in general. Because I never, you know, I'd see the Joe Rogan clips every once in a while, but I never it's like saying like most people. I mean, I'm not sitting there for 3 hours listening to some dude talk. And then when I was on a podcast, I listened to a couple he had done to see what is this, right? And then doing that, then I became like a Joe Rogan snob. I listened to everything. I tried to go back to one and listen to it, but that was hard. Yeah. You know, but so I would listen to just about everything Joe Rogan would put out, and I was like, man, like I feel like I just did all my same shit all day long, but I learned something or I gained perspective on things. So I inherently like enjoyed the aspect of listening to podcasts or watching, whatever the case may be at the time. And I was on the podcast for Dan's in March of 2017. And then we were in the process of building the gold FXR, the full fairing one. Yeah. And then in December, I was, FXR Mike was a big push of, hey, you should do one, because we would be at his house or at the shop or wherever, and we would be in these long, deep-ass conversations for hours that, you've ever been in a conversation with someone just randomly somewhere, you walk away from, you're like, man, I feel motivated.
Yeah.
That was a great
good combo.
Yeah. So it felt like we were constantly having these kind of vibes and conversations. And so Mark from T-Bar or from Texas Performance would come up a lot. And then FXR Mike, and then my brother, I was like, fuck it, let's do one. Yeah. And so initially the goal was, I'm going to buy all this stuff, and then my brother's going to run the podcast. It's going to be his podcast. Because I didn't really fully get, I didn't see myself as the dude to kind of be a host of it, to be honest with you. Yeah. But once I invested in all the equipment and then had to buy a fucking MacBook, which was another big investment, I was like, fuck, man, now it has to go through. Yeah. And, so we just kept pushing, and I just used the relationships I had built on the prior 15 years-ish of being in motorcycles. You know what I mean? How do I use all these people that I've met to get them on a podcast, because that was one of the things that I had access to, doing something, is I did have a connection to, Dixon Flannel, Simpson motorcycle helmets, a lot of the big brands in the scene at the time I was personal friends with. Yeah. So, you start the podcast off with a lot of heavy hitters in the space of these motorcycles that we're on. But yes, it's taken a lot of years to get better at this part of it. And still not anywhere where it should be, but it's, it is what it is. There's some podcasts where I fucked that one up. I really fucking.
I still want to see this one, Ochoa and Haney.
Oh, the fucking.
Oh, dude.
The 6-hour one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so a lot of alcohol involved in that. And then, that's when he was, doing his blood oath to the chopper gods. Yeah. So the shirts came off really early, and
yeah. It was it was kind of a joke, the whole chopper thing, getting into that, because when we did the FXR tour last year, Rennie and I we both built air quotes choppers out of these bikes. And it was just these guys are big chopper dudes now, blah, blah, blah. And then, yes, I've always been interested in choppers. I just never really knew much. I never knew where I wanted to start or whatever. Yeah. And Ochoa and I have known each other for almost since 2006 or something like that. And so I ran into him. So when Michael Lichter he set up the show for Galveston last year, and Jason Ochoa, Daryl, and this is where I initially met Haney and a lot of these guys in the scene. And I was like, fuck, these guys are pretty cool. And I kind of felt like I could easily have a conversation with them. And so bringing them on, it was obviously they're into this way more than I am. So how do I get in the club, dudes? So it became this prospecting period, kind of a.
Oh yeah, no, we were giving him shit too. It had nothing to do with it, but we felt your attire changed, the nice, tight fitting beanies. Where we said he started drinking, real
IPAs or whatever.
Yeah, amazingly overpriced coffee, and he was he was much more sophisticated. He was Jose then. He was no longer Jace.
That's why you're not on a hardtail chopper yet. Is you didn't get onto the natty ices instead.
Yeah, no,
He hasn't slummed it yet. He's still on. He's
I still want to make it there.
He's a chopper and cafe racer right now. He's not full blown dirty chopper yet.
I didn't. You're in the big group chat for the Beaver Bash, right?
Yeah.
All right, so.
I guess we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, we could. So this invite only chopper event that we're going to.
So you did get initiated. You are a card carrying member of the chopper gang.
Chopper boy now.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, they're all they set it so this ride from Haney's house is leaving. This probably won't be out before we're all done, because I won't put this out probably till next week or something like that. But so we're meeting at Haney's house at fucking 9 a.m. and we're leaving at 10. And I'm thinking to myself, do I want to ride with them all the way to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, or do I want to just meet them there? Because surely their bikes are not going to be able to get there as easily as mine is. You know what I'm saying?
I've never seen any chopper trip not have a breakdown.
And I know that that's the point of it, is to kind of let the road provide and have a good time and get a story. And obviously I'm going to go and deal with it. But I found it as like, I don't know. A lot of these numbers I don't have saved, and I don't want to come off like the wrong dude. I don't know if I'm fully initiated yet. This might be the last.
This may be your probate period.
Yeah. Now, if I come back with a patch, it's all gloves off. You know what I mean? Or the gloves are off or whatever. But no, that event, like, you know, he talked about it last year. I think on this podcast, they were talking about they did the run up to Broken Bow. It was just a handful of homies. And, you know, I got the official invite at Born Free this year. So, you know, because the Shed Run is an invite thing.
Shed Run is fucking,
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason that Shed Run hasn't happened for a little bit between Scott moving, but also, it was an invite only. So Cindy, who owns the shed out there, it was supposed to be 30 people max. And then it turned into, I think at max there was maybe 380 people.
Fuck.
Coolest motherfuckers you've ever met. It was sick. But Cindy had accidentally, like, she had fallen trying to get the shed ready and stuff for what she thought was going to be 30 people. She wasn't even there. She was in the hospital all weekend. And so when she gets back home, she finds out that there were nearly 400 people there all fucking weekend for what was supposed to be 30. And she was livid.
Yeah, that'll do
it. She
it.
loves everybody, and she liked it, but she was also like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, that's, you know, when Born Free Texas started here, I wanted to, like, I was like, look, you got a chance to be at the beginning of something, right? You know, I wish I could say I was at Born Free 1, you know, or Giddy Up 1 or Mama Tried 1 or whatever. Like, I would have loved to do that. Now that there's this event here, I kind of can say I was at Born Free Texas 1.
Yeah.
And I want to continue that on as long as I can, as long as they do it, right? But these smaller events, these things like the Shed Run and these other things that have been small that I've been able to do, like, they're so impactful as far as like filling the meter of like just good, genuine stoke about being a part of things. Because Born Free is big. I mean, Born Free Texas started out bigger than a lot of other things have, right? So having something small and kind of intimate and unique and like able to meet and connect with everybody there is like, you got to balance out your motorcycling life with a couple big things and a couple small things, because they make you appreciate both, right?
Yeah, like the big events are fucking sick. Everybody gets rowdy and fucking parties.
Yeah.
And then the intimate stuff is cool because, like, for the most part, the only dudes there are the cool motherfuckers, or like the chill dudes that also invited the other fucking cool and chill guys. And so everybody's fucking cool.
Yeah, and everybody has, it's kind of like the dinner that we did. Like I tried to invite people that's within our closer community, and the people that I know that like nobody, if you walk in, nobody's like, oh fuck, that dude's here. You know what I mean? Like everybody that's cool on the outside that we know, you know? And so it was like, and it was a last minute thing. I think I even gave you an even more last minute invite, because it was Sunday and we thought of it on Thursday, and then we put a group text on Instagram, and then every time I would think of somebody else, I would add them to it.
Yeah.
And then you posted something. I was like, oh fuck yeah, let me add him to it.
Now I know how far I am on the list.
Yeah, last. You're last, buddy.
Hey, at least I showed up.
Yeah, you did.
Dude, that was good times. And like, honestly, that lasted way longer than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Like I figured, and then especially like the layout, everything was great there, but it was kind of hard to get everyone to be able to have us where they could sit together. So I was like, okay, this is going to get kind of weird. That's
fine though. Cause I mean, at least for me, it's like, I didn't know a lot of the dudes there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, so the table's perfect size for you, Haney, Kyle, and the guys that I know. This is like, shit, fuck yeah.
Well, it's like anything. Like,
man, it's over now. Now you're gonna know more and watch.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I think it's a good time in our scene in Dallas to do more things like that. You know, smaller events, smaller shit. You know, our camp out got big and it was great and fun. But man, I missed it when it was small. I missed the experience of getting to meet everybody. The most embarrassing thing in the world is me getting to my drunken state and talking shit to somebody and be like, why didn't you ever come to the camp out, motherfuckers? I went to all of them. Like, oh shit. Oh man, like, dude, you got to be more known, man. Like,
you have had a couple moments like that with some people. Yeah, no, you've definitely done that.
And I feel like the biggest asshole, but it's like the setting just didn't allow me to meet everybody that went to it.
Yeah. You meet a fuckload of people at events, like
and it it just sucks. And the thing is, it's just all weird. But I don't know. I'm kind of glad not to be in the space of creating events anymore. I want to help events that exist be better.
Yeah.
So that's why I like leaning into nitty gritty next year and trying to bring some of the elements of our camp out and the modern bikes with the bike show that we're going to try to put together. And a lot of this was Devin's idea. So got to forever give this dude credit.
Dude, I didn't ask for that plug.
And, so the goal is just to try to create this space there to make it to where, like we just said, the chopper scene and the performance bike scene, they fucking party together.
Yeah.
Synonymously, I think is the right word.
Sure. That's a big word.
I literally believe that.
Right word,
I believe that Kyle Jive-Ass Honky is the best crossover hybrid chopper guy.
Oh,
because he rides a new bike, but if he told you that he had a shovel or a pan, you would totally believe it.
He's one of my favorite motherfuckers.
Dude, he's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I make
nobody's ever not liked Kyle, and it's never gonna happen, right?
No.
But to that extent, like
Casso, fuck that guy.
is about like like bringing these scenes together. It's like, I don't plan to get as dirty as some of the dudes are in the chopper thing. That's just not my fucking flavor. But realistically, it's this bike shit is about being yourself.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first one to tell you that there's a lot of other people in this world that I've been inspired by. Their style, the bikes they built, the personality that they have, and there's nothing wrong, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by somebody that has something together that you like. Obviously you don't want to just copy them and be, carbon copies, but you want to be influenced by the people that have the shit that are cool to you. And then
it's just a bunch of fucking buddies hanging
melting
out,
pot. Yeah. So I'm excited about the future with like more of the chopper scene and the performance scene kind of hanging out together.
Yeah.
Just got to get there. I found all the really cool dudes I think I know in the chopper thing, but
there's 1,000.
There's got to be more, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe the dinner will get bigger.
Oh shit! Is this going to be an annual thing now? Is the
we've been talking about doing. All we do. The concept is a dinner ride. That's all it is.
Dude, the Fast Life family dinner is going to be fucking phenomenal.
The red couch. Who went and got it? Did Kyle go and get back and get it?
No. I wish. I miss it now that I don't have it.
Yeah.
We left it there, and then that was the plan all along. I needed the space in the shop. It's like the wall I just built. Like I needed to be able to.
I think I just had an epiphany. This motherfucker just didn't want me to like. He didn't want to feel obligated to ask me to take it to the dump for him. So he's like, "Hey, can you take the couch to Born Free for me?"
Yeah.
And we're just not bringing it back. Did you just use me? Is that what you did?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, somebody else took the couch.
I think it was the Eyes brothers took it because one of them was sleeping on it.
Yeah.
I got a video of someone sleeping on it the next day. After we left. Man, that couch was I'm gonna do a post for it because I got a lot of good pictures of Kyle like passed out on it, like acting like he is not.
See, even the couch like Kyle, like fucking Kyle.
We gotta just collect all of the photos over the years of the couch.
Yeah, because you got those ones for the
Christmas sweater ones.
Yeah, so
I remember those. Those were sick.
Yeah, he came out. Did you do mushrooms with us that night? No,
I'm
dude.
sober.
Mushrooms are sober. But
I'm straight edge.
Straight edge. There you go. That time we did all that, like he came out and shot it, and there were some epic photos. Yeah. Good time.
I remember that couch because it photographed so good, dude.
Yeah.
It was like, this is a sick couch. And then I was texting my chick about it whenever we were Born Free because we need a couch.
Oh, you're gonna take it?
Yeah.
I think I said something to you about taking it.
Yeah, we were talking about it, but it's like, fuck, I don't have a way to get it back
It was dusty. I mean, the leather was kind of worn on it, but I bought it secondhand off Marketplace back when we built the studio, and it was the brand was a high end brand. you know, and it was sturdy built couch.
Because even you say the leather was worn on it, but like.
But it was a real red leather couch.
Yeah,
I mean, it was dyed,
leather,
but you know, it was a real couch.
Yeah, it wasn't like flaking off like fucking
the pleather ones. Yeah.
Nowadays.
No, it was just the faded. The color had faded, the dye, but it wasn't. No, everything on it was.
So
perfect.
there's another. When I bought that couch, it came with a love seat too, and my friend still has a love seat, I think.
Oh, shit.
And I think I'm gonna try to get the love seat back because I can fit the love seat in the van and take that to bike events.
Yeah.
Because when we start doing when we do nitty gritty and we do all the other bike events that we're gonna set booths up, we're gonna go for the same vibe of creating a hang space.
Yeah.
You know, and which
that's so. Speaking of like how we were talking about the like Easter eggs and like covers and shit, we should do one for the red couch.
There you go. That's not a bad idea.
Those are the little Easter eggs that are fun. That everybody else can be like, "What the fuck is that ugly ass red couch doing?" And they're like, "Yeah, bitch, you don't know."
Yeah, you don't know. You weren't here.
Yeah,
you're new. Yeah, I don't know. It's but yeah, back to the Beaver Run. Are we allowed to talk about the Beaver Run?
I don't fucking know. Sure.
I don't even know what it is yet.
I wasn't told not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we gonna talk about? I don't know what the fuck's happening.
I really don't know. It's apparently it's one huge Airbnb up in Broken Bow, and there's like 30 people coming, and all staying in the same house.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I heard Justin talking about it at the dinner.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, and we're supposed to ride to Mena, Arkansas, which is a long way for some choppers to go ride. Huh?
We are
supposed to. That's what I said. They said there was a bar they were gonna go to, and that's where it's gonna do. The ride from Broken Bow to Mena, Arkansas is fucking badass.
Okay.
It's really nice. Yeah, I'm excited about that. But I'm also. He said that there's a hot tub, and I'm also like, man, I love hot tubs, but 30 dudes, like, how are we gonna pull this off? We got to have like time cards and slips, or because my ass will fucking haul ass back to there and just be in the hot tub before everybody pulls back up. You know, already pruned hands and everything.
There's a pool table in one of the rooms.
I suck at pool.
Dude, it looks. Jason was showing us the photos. Man, it looks like a little Instagram girl traveler's fucking paradise.
They need to have that like grass wall with a neon sign on it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fucking
Beaver Run, Beaver Bash. But I think that's what's cool about like these smaller things that just turn into big things.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Like I mean, we're gonna film it. Hopefully, it'll be cool. Maybe it'll be absolutely trash.
I'm hoping it'll be the first. I hope it'll be the video that I can put out. That'll be my return to YouTube vlogging. Devin's been putting out videos like pretty consistent now, and it's got me like itching every time I see one.
Yeah.
So,
man,
what's your secret,
dude? You just
don't look at it.
right? Just do it, man. Like, even if you think, oh man, this did not come out good, I'm putting it out anyways. Because the problem with social media and YouTube and Instagram in general, you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
Like, good, bad, or ugly, just put it out. Like, because if you don't, then you just fall in the algorithm. They fucking forget about you. Like, just put it out.
Yeah.
I'm fucking dead on Instagram now.
Yeah, it's up and down with me.
I can't wait till I put the crash reel up, because so I put it on my story so all my homies could see what happened. When that motherfucker goes on the reel on the reels, oh, it's gonna be the hate is gonna be, oh, why is that guy got shorts on? He's a fucking idiot. And the problem is the way social media works, the hate is always the best.
Yeah,
that's what makes things go viral. It's never the good. It's never people saying, oh man, that's badass. Oh, that's a great. No. That you might get a few thousand there.
Yeah.
The people that hate it is going to drive it to, something stupid, I'm sure.
Exactly. Well, I've been, I was telling you, like, I had to redo that wall or make that wall because I wanted to make that side of the shop look good in the background, but also I needed the wood to be able to screw more shit on the wall and stationary things. And, I bought some stuff to be able to like put my belt grinder and all that stuff like stationary on the floor now, so everything will be stations. I'm a very OCD person when it comes to like the way the shop is set up.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I hate to do this in the middle of a podcast, but is that what you did all weekend, was do the shop?
Yeah.
So instead of hanging out with your kid, like you used as the excuse
he was up here.
I was okay.
I was saying,
I told him, because I fucking told this dude, come stay at the house, and because he was talking about going to Lone Star. he's like, nah, man, I'm gonna hang out with my kid. I haven't really got to hang out with him all summer. Like, I'm gonna. I was like, all right, cool. Like, that's an understandable reason.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's working on the shop the whole day.
No, I picked him up on Friday, and then we went and had CC's. That's our guilty pleasure together. And then he came to the shop.
Dumpster fire pizza is your guys'
Hey, that buffalo chicken slaps, dude.
There sometimes like some dog shit pizza hits the spot.
Dude.
Look, I can't judge you for CC's. My guilty pleasure is at work. I go to Pizza Inn for lunch.
Ugh.
No,
Ugh.
bro,
Like Pizza Inn, that's poor people pizza.
Bro, let me get your take on this. Fucking SpaghettiOs from the can.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, honestly, haven't had it in a while. Probably going to have to ask my whole lady to pick some up because I haven't, dude, those go hard.
They've got a little,
like the ones that you can put them in the microwavable ones.
Nah, well, at work, there's a little, I don't know, I guess like a little stand of all the snacks and drinks and shit. And somebody fucking brought, there were like 6 cans of SpaghettiOs over there.
Mm-hmm.
But like you'd have to scan them and like check them out to buy them and shit. But the barcodes weren't scanning. I'm like, fuck yeah, all right, my fucking for like 2 weeks, dude. I was chowing down on some SpaghettiOs at work.
There's certain foods that I think that if you grow up like eating, because maybe not because you're poor, just because that's just the way your house did it. I don't care. Like they slap forever. Like
Oh yeah,
ramen noodles or ramen, however the fuck you say it. Like
ramen.
I love those things,
Yeah.
and to the point where sometimes I double them up, bro, and I add my own spices to it. You know, get a little, what is it? Gordon Ramsay on those bitches. You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
oh yeah,
Yeah. So I don't like ramen with like the water, like the soup of it.
Mhm.
But if you give me some seasoned ramen noodles once they're cooked, drain off all the water, and then like some fried up like summer sausage in a pan, oh, that's gourmet meal right there. That's
oh yeah.
that's poor man hibachi, man.
Fucking, some jailhouse nachos, man.
Oh yeah. Well, all that stuff is dope, but how did we get on this?
bro, you're the one.
I don't know.
We started talking
SpaghettiOs.
about food. You were talking shit about pizza and saying that's poor people food. Then he went to the SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
Chef Boyardee raviolis, man. That's what
I was hanging out with my son this week. We went to CC's, and then he came here and helped me kind of organize and clean and get stuff ready. And then, he's at that age where all he really wants to do is get on and play the game.
Yeah.
It's not even really so much a game. He's just all his friends are in like this room of whatever, and like
how old is he?
He's 14.
Yeah.
So I was gonna take him like to go drive a little bit, get him kind of used to driving around, but we were gonna do it this morning, but the time change like fucked me up. I slept till like 11 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
That's my excuse at least. And so yeah, we just kind of was doing that, and yeah, I haven't got a chance to see my son much because even since getting back from Sturgis this year, every weekend there's been something going on somewhere, and it's just been hard, And then I'm technically this weekend's Beaver Bash, and then the weekend after that I'm supposed to go to San Diego. Still waiting on that to happen, or the confirmation with that. So it's like, yeah, there's still stuff going on every weekend from now on. So
Yeah.
And then honestly, not even mad I missed fucking Galveston. Looked like I just got wet the whole time.
Oh, bro. It dumped a little bit, but I honestly Friday there was no rain at all.
For real.
So yeah, no. Friday was great. It was that
Lone Star's a good time, man. It's a good time, and because it puts you together with a lot of different like worlds of motorcycling. And yeah, some of it can be cosplay, some of it can be, extreme.
Yeah,
funny.
Stay away from the top hats, and you're gonna have an amazing time with people that you would normally never hang out with, and it was fucking great.
Yeah. So it's photographer's paradise if you want to take pictures of oddball shit.
I need to start traveling more.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't know.
Well, if you were to go to Galveston and shoot the way you shoot everywhere else, where you're trying to like get people to go to the website, you'd almost have to walk around with cards, and every time you shot somebody, you'd have to give them a card.
So I'm gonna tell you this. I was doing candid shots on the Strand and on the seawall. I sold probably 20 images just by like shots I shot while I was there. And I would, if I got a good one, I would say, hey, I said, I just want to let you know I got a really good shot of you. And they would say, oh, how can I get it? How can I get that image? Like, I'll pay you for it.
Yeah.
And I didn't go there thinking to do that. And the first one I was just going to give to the person. And it was just literally in the parking lot. Some lady was pulling into park. And all I was doing was like I was checking my settings on my camera.
Yeah.
And I got this shutter.
How do you check your settings when it's auto?
The fuck you? No. Don't shoot an auto. No. This motherfucker. Got jokes.
I had to make sure the camera was on.
Got jokes. So like I'm looking at it and I was like, hey, I got this really good image. And I think it was her husband or boyfriend walks. He was like, hey man, I really like that image. Like, how can I get it? I don't have like a website for that shit. I'm like, well, I have an Instagram, but all right. Well, here, let me just give it to you. I was like, let me Wi-Fi to my phone real quick and I'll just give you the raw image. I said, I'll upload.
True photographer.
Wi-Fi to my phone and then I'll upload the file like to, the cloud and I'll just send it to you. I don't fucking care. And he's like, well, at least let me give you $20 for it. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, then when I started shooting other photos, people were like, hey man, how can I buy that? Like, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know, man, like $20.
See, hey, I'm not that expensive.
Dude, I couldn't believe that I was selling photos for $20 just by walking around.
Yeah.
That shit paid for my parking, paid for my drinks. Like, it was fucking, I was like, all right.
I think it was the first throwdown at Yellow Rose was whenever I got that Smug Mug stuff set up. And I didn't plan on fucking selling photos. Like, I had found out about the website stuff and was like, like, it'd be cool. Let me just go ahead and throw these all up in here. Like, might as well.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was free too. And you could just make money on it. And then Throwdown, everybody bought photos. And I think like Monday I woke up and I had some fucking money like notifications like, oh fuck, all right, this is how I can do this.
So what do you like? This is what I think about, and I'm telling you my side because I want to get your thoughts on it. I'm about to redo a whole new website because we're going to try to set up an online store to be able to sell more of our t-shirts and whatever merch we decide to do, but I also want to sell prints.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the same way I would put out a blog or some kind of like series of images. I like to put it out in a way that I can sell you this image in 3 different sizes, right? But I'm not selling you a digital copy of it.
Yeah.
Because technically, like if you're taking pictures of people, the digital copy is perfect because most people are going to put it on their Instagram. Maybe they'll print it, whatever. But if I
want to give the digital copies, or
no, I don't want to give that away because if you want, like I said, it's harder to do this because you want this picture behind me, because you like the image, you like what it's saying.
Make it where you have to just buy a print.
Yeah, because if I sell you the digital image, then you can go and print a million of them.
Yeah,
and then
motherfuckers that have done that for my shit.
Yeah, and that's it's like you got to control your like what you have in a sense, and if you only allow a certain amount of these like prints to be made, then technically, I don't know how much value it is now, but it could be of value later on. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I want to do the same way you would do like a collection of like merch to drop every season. I like a collection of photos. It's for
like a blog post and like here's some photos.
Hey, this is the series this is a collection of images that I put together for this series. Yeah. So the series that I did for the art show for Dan was 5 images that they were all shot by me on another bike next to them riding. So that was kind of like the theme behind it.
Yeah, you just want a curated collection that this is the series. I mean, but you said it before with photography, you look at it more as a fine art. So like, man, if you're someone that collects art, that's where I have this curated collection. So
I feel like with it being like that though too, you can worry a little bit less about somebody wanting to just take the photo and post it.
Yeah. It's like you're creating a different connection to the image, Yeah. Like I said, I'm not saying that this is profitable. I think it's probably the opposite of profitable.
Yeah.
But it's like you're creating something that I feel like is hopefully going to be of more value to the individual that bought it.
I think it is profitable. It's just the long game. If you're just trying to make money, and there's nothing wrong with this, but if you're looking at it as just purely business based, that's probably not the best way to do it. Like, value as an artist can draw you long term. I mean, that's how you end up with, super high end photographers. They've gotten that because they've been selective in that.
So this is the other thing that, and I'm kind of dancing around it, but I'm getting to a point where I want to ask you a question about it. Yeah, so I have this series of collection. Now, when I knew that Dan was going to let me be in this art show, you want to talk about going back through your whole collection of images and trying to decide what
is worthy of a print for random people.
Yeah, like who is going to buy this? Like of my images I've ever shot, like I've got a lot of cool shots of my bikes.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of my friends doing something cool, but who's going to buy that and put it on their wall? You know, like, so I had to look at every image like as what is this? How does this, like, is this something I think somebody would hang up?
Yeah.
You know, and I put 10 images together to make prints, and it was easy to see the ones that like really resonate with people. Like it was the motors, any of the motor shots that I had. Hans fucking sold out quickly. He's this black and white image of him on this sick ass FXR I shot in Sturgis a couple years ago. But let me ask you this: like when you go, or what I was going to say off of what Devin was just saying, this image that's a part of this collection, it could actually probably make me more money later on in life, as opposed to that one image of that one couple or person or group.
Yeah, like in the sense of it kind of being like similar to a portfolio of like, you know, like, or commercially available of like, oh, like so-and-so at some big wig somewhere fucking sees it. And then it's like, hey, dude, this dude does cool shit. And obviously he's selling shit. So like, let's get him. I think that's probably where it would have like, as far as like a major income, be a possibility. And it's fucking photographers. Everything's a side hustle.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like,
it's like you don't think you're gonna get rich off anything, but if
there's no one thing you can do as a photographer. You have to do 1,500 other things to skim by.
Pretty much, yeah. I have been wanting to, like, between the two of you guys, like I really want to get shots of like our shirt, like in more of a lifestyle kind of way, but I don't really want to be the fucking dude in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want it to be on a cool bike or in the van or something cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like that's to me, like making shirts and making merch is the ability to like also do photo shoots of the merch to sell it. You know what I mean? Like that's like part of the fun for me with doing all that. I don't really want to be the person in it as much as like there's.
See, but this brings up something that I kind of want to ask you. Is like, as far as like running a business in the scene of chopper shit, do you notice from it being, hey, this is a business, I'm trying to sell it to like, oh, fucking Joe and Mary from so-and-so. Or is it like, nah, dude, everything's getting sold to buddies?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. I mean, that's like one of the biggest honors is like if the people that you buy a shirt, a t-shirt, a beanie, a hat, a sweatshirt from a brand that you identify with in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Or you're a close friend to that person and you're just supporting it.
Yeah.
Not just supporting it, but that's, you know, you're kind of doing a little bit of both. But for me, I think it's cool to create something that for the longest, we only would, and we still kind of are this now, but soon we'll have it to where somebody can buy a shirt from us just through the website.
Yeah.
So anybody can have it. But before, for the longest, for pretty much the entire time we've had shirts, the only way you can get it is by meeting us at a camp out or at Born Free or something like that.
I mainly ask because it's like, I mean, obviously I'm curious about it too, because for the most part, I don't think I've had like a client in fucking 10 years as much as just like, oh, my buddy wants to take some photos and he's going to help me out.
Yeah.
But rounding back to what you're saying of like having a model shoot it, dude, you should shoot it. It's for your buddies to buy the shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind shooting, but I was thinking like maybe.
No, I mean, you should model in it.
Oh.
Dude, let's get him in a fucking, just some tidy whities, just the shirt on, laying on the couch. Like, all the fucking buddies will get that shit, dog.
No, just be the shirt hanging down and just,
you gotta know your
nuts
market,
hanging out
dude.
the bottom
know your
of it.
demographic. It's all your buddies. Like, let them see some funny shit.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. But you know, I think it's for the buddies, yes. But like I mean, to be honest with you, we have a pretty good listenership with this podcast, and then there's you know, we have I guess, an okay following in the space of social media, but it doesn't feel like it is the same as it was years ago. And like I said, we want to make fucking merch. We want to make cool shirts that people can, you know, rock and, you know, support our brand, but also like support the ideology around our brand. What it's about.
That little, if you're not from this area, you can't make it here as much as you maybe would like. It's that little sliver of the fast life wherever you're at, right?
Yeah. It's like growing it from being like, oh yeah, we're just selling this shit to buddies.
I mean, but think about it, like
I might not know you. I'm not saying like, you know, it's like not saying you're not gonna get along with whoever buys it, but I don't necessarily know that guy.
Yeah, in the performance motorcycle scene, you're pretty much going to see these 3 shirts. You're going to see a Dixon flannel.
Yeah.
You're going to see a Thrash and Supply, you know, shirt, which those are homies, awesome. And what's another? If you could off the rip,
East Coastin'.
You think their shirts are that big?
No, yes. Now that might have something to do with the whole gimmick of like selling, like doing giveaway bikes with it, but yes.
Yeah, I don't feel like
you know how many guys I see with either that or like a cover of some sort, or you could even say Heat Wave.
Yeah, but they're not really motorcycle based.
No, dude. Like East Coastin', yes. I see so many people with that shit, bro.
All right, I don't know. I've never seen an East Coast in anything, but I'll take. Hey, that's his answer. That's fine.
Have you looked at Katie's Derby cover on her bike?
Yeah, but Katie's from the East Coast.
She's in
That's
Dallas.
a Derby cover, not a T-shirt.
Yeah, I guarantee she's got a T-shirt.
But she definitely has a thrashing.
Oh yeah, no.
I got. You know what's funny? All of my shirts before Virginia City roundup, like a month or 2 ago. I accidentally got all my shirts washed in like hot water and fucking shrank every single one of them to a fucking peanut.
Yeah.
Fucking went to Walmart, got a shirt, fucking went to Virginia City Roundup with just like a single shirt and fucking all the homies just hooked it up and gave me shirts. So like that's every shirt that I own now is from Virginia City.
So the same thing happens in the chopper side. I would say that I see the Morrison Magneto shirt everywhere.
Yeah. Martian Supply.
Yes. I see burnout shirts a lot, especially here in Texas.
Yeah.
And then like more event shirts and like stuff. So it's like people wear shirts. I mean, it's how like you identify with like a culture, and whether it's the bands that you used to like or the fucking, you know, the motorcycle shit you liked. I mean, wearing a thrashing shirt in the motorcycle community is still less. It's still not as big as if like you had the Black Hills Harley Davidson shirt on, like you know what I mean? Like you're still kind of like showing, hey, within this world, I'm a part of this tribe, or I identify. Yeah, your niche. So, you know, in a sense, it's like we want to kind of like provide that opportunity for people to, you know, fuck with us in that mix. Yeah. I'm not an expert in that world, so I don't know how to, like, we're trying to figure out how to get to that level of having things where, you know, we travel a lot in our brand. So I'd like to make clothes or make things that lean itself to be of use other than just a logo on a hoodie.
Yeah.
How do I make this like do some things? How do I get it made in a way to be of also some kind of benefit for the person wearing our shit on the road?
I think number one is just fucking make something that's not fucking trashy material.
Oh yeah. That's the easy part right now, because that's a choice when you're making it. Like you can choose to
don't skimp out.
Well, there's also like, you know, there's reasons behind it too. Of like, you know, you want to make it affordable.
You don't want a big ass iron print. No, I don't want to make it affordable. I want to make it quality.
Yeah.
You know, affordability went out the window when motherfuckers bought motorcycles. So fuck off with that shit. You know, like if everything is affordable, then it means nothing to own anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, whatever, I'll throw that shirt away. It was only $6.
It's all them Bidenomics.
Yeah. I want to make products that, like, you know, whether it's the paint or anything I do, it's always about how do you make it?
I do think that you're very, and it makes sense. You're very about exclusivity, and you want something to feel premium in everything that you put your name on. So I get that. You know, I think that you have a good idea, and it's not saying that someone can't get it, but like, this is not the bargain basement where we're gonna start. We do $5 T-shirt sales just because we have them. Like, nah, man, you're not gonna cheapen your brand like that.
Yeah, that's just my thing with that. But I want to make cool shit for people. Honestly, what I would really like to make is like luggage for people that want to make like Peak Design makes really great camera bags and stuff like that. But there's still a lot of things about it that I wish that I could work with them on making something for motorcyclists, travel wise, that also can hold camera gear and other things.
I told you, hit my buddy up Rocky about he used to work at Polar Pro, and they had some like the backpack lineup, and I was like, oh dude, like we should work on a fucking Sissy Bar camera bag. It's not working for Polar Pro anymore, but
yeah,
it's that Condor Blue fucking helping us out for the Beaver Bash gear. But
yeah, I'm excited about all that. So that's kind of the thing is I'd like to find a way to take the brand and use it to make some stuff. And, I'm not going to get rich off selling t-shirts. I'm not going to get rich off being a photographer, but
it's like, here's something cool.
Yeah.
Fucking
it's like if you have like 5 different sources of some marginal income, it all adds up to being able to sustain you and whatnot. And that's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
Make a little bit of money in the podcast.
You're just trying to make some residual income that,
you got to do 1,000
passive residual income that you don't have to do a lot of work for. And it just gives you a little supplement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just the way I see it. But yeah, going back to what I was going to ask you about like printing is like, cause I want to do the art show and I want you to have your shit in it.
Oh, yeah.
So have you thought about like, what would you, if you were going to have to take 5 images and you're going to sell prints off of it, like you've shot like a lot of chicks naked. So I feel like that's easy for you to like, like dudes will buy that 100%.
I would say one of the shots would probably be like the classic Honky Tonk Honey stag one.
Yeah.
Just because those are fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know I was looking through them and I was like, yeah, you might be right. There's not a whole lot in here.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like looking at this, it's like, yeah, dude, actually that's pretty sick. I don't really have any photos like this one where it's like, oh yeah, like you can't necessarily see the guy's face. So like that could be a cool print. I would probably hang that up.
Yeah. And that was the goal behind this, like,
yeah,
you don't want it to, it's like people that know that's Curpius, or people that know that's Rennie from Easy Rider.
Yeah.
But Easy Rider Cycle, but you don't know, it could be a print that goes up on the wall and you don't look like a creep dude, like that's really into this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a cool vibe, a cool bike or whatever. That's my thought behind it. Like I said, I got some cool ass shots of Jive Ass Honky. He's a fucking photogenic ass dude. My buddy, Big Will Cody, same thing. His bike's always sick. His outfit's always on point. Looks good on the bike, but it's just, I don't know if everybody would put that on their wall. You know what I mean?
I have to try everything you try and do or make. You have to look at it in your eyes of what would I buy?
Mm-hmm.
And I still feel like I'm kind of in a place where I'm like, I don't really want to fucking spend the money on that.
Yeah. Now I feel you on that.
Some like the Playboy magazine type shit where it's like, oh, dude, that's fucking badass, classy, and fucking hot chick and fucking whatever. Maybe doing some shit like that, and like that obviously shows in the photography stuff that I do. But a lot of the time it just turns into shooting people for their one-off shots and prints, maybe.
Mm-hmm. What about what was I gonna say? Fuck, just drew a blank. Fuck. I had a question right there, and you said Playboy, and it took me off of it. Fuck.
We need, I don't know. I think it's trying to find the minimalist, like kind of style in the photo.
Yeah.
Where it's not tied to anything. I'm not sure. Like I draw a blank trying to figure that out.
Well, I think that's for me, that was going and looking, that was film photography and what's popular in that space and how it looks is why I wanted to start shooting a little more hotter, a little more overexposed a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it less contrasty and like hopefully it'll, I don't know, feel different than an Instagram photo, which typically is a lot more contrasty. And I don't think contrasty is the right way to say it. It has a lot more contrast.
Yeah.
I like contrasty. I think that.
Oh, contrasty.
Hey man, you go back before dark mode on Instagram, that was not the style.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to dark mode. That shit made my photos look way better.
That's a good one. Yeah, man. I really, Devin said this the other day that I thought was really interesting because he's been shooting a lot of video, like YouTube stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then he got his camera recently and then goes to Born Free and literally falls in love with shooting images again.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the hard thing is that there's more, you can do more with video as far as like, you know, YouTube story, like it has more angles, and you can actually gain more from it than you can with a single image. But I'm curious to both of y'all, like, what is it about the single image that like makes you want to continue to do that over, like, you know, not over, but, you know, focusing on that? Like, why shoot?
I mean, I got into photography because I was in video and I got burnt out. And then in my head, obviously I still had to do something camera related. And so I was like, oh, well, fucking photography is just one frame of video. Like, let's just do that. That's fucking easy. And that's how I got into photography. I did fucking like 5 years of video and then just switched after like a project got finished because I was burnt out. And then now I'm getting back into the video side. So I don't know. My view on it's kind of changing.
Okay. Yeah.
And for me, you know, kind of like you, I did photography in high school and in college, and I came from a photojournalist background. So I think that's why I kind of lean in on the candid stuff, because that's the run and gun. Like you're not posing. You have to have the perspective to find what you're looking for. But then in my 20s, I did a lot for the automotive as I've talked to Jace about. And the problem is, like you guys were talking about earlier, when it comes to mag stuff, it almost becomes like you have this recipe and it's like, okay, we're going to shoot this angle and we're going to do it this way. And it took all the creative aspect out of it. So it just burnt me out of doing it. It wasn't fun. And then, you know, doing event coverage of that shit just sucks. It's just a bunch of literally looks like stock photography and you can't control anything. And it's just, so that's why I stopped doing it. And video kind of gave me that jive of feeling like that creative aspect again. And I started doing that. But at Born Free, man, like, where I struggle when I'm doing video is because when I get around my friends, I want to enjoy the moment. And the problem is it's really hard to do that when you've got a video camera. Cause you're like, hold on, let me get this out and I want to capture it, but you don't ever capture it. And then everyone feels awkward because they stop acting the way they really are. Yeah. So, but with the camera, especially if you get a good focal length, you can stand back and they know you're there because you're their friend and they don't realize that you're shooting photos of them. Yeah. And then you start looking at it and then it's like, wow, okay, especially if you know the person. Like, an example, I got like a shot that I really enjoy of Kyle, and he's just like walking and Kyle has this fucking strut to him, and I got him like mid strut and I'm like, yeah, bro, anyone that knows him, that's fucking Kyle. Yeah. Oh, you know, and those moments, and like to everybody that may not mean anything, that's why I like your photography, because like the people that I do know in the chopper scene, like, when you see those candid shots, even though you've got like the flash set up, that's really who they are. Like, and it's actually really fucking rad. Like I don't know, that's an art form that you can do that stuff because it's
all on them.
Dude, it's so sick.
Well, I think the more you shoot people too at those events, like they see you year after year, they get more comfortable. Yeah. Because they see the outcomes that you put throughout on, you know, that you put through your website and stuff. They see, oh man, I wish I would have leaned into that more, because that'd be cool to have an image within this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My thing is like, I wish I would get the FOMO. Hey, fuck, I didn't take any photos.
Right.
I'm getting tired. Like, I got to stop being I guess I don't want to look cool, so I just want to make a goofy face and stick my tongue out and be weird. Yeah. Because I feel like it's like I don't know. Like, I feel like I try to stand and look cool. It looks goofy.
I think also, I mean, this probably doesn't apply to you, but Jace, I think at Born Free, the mushrooms just got me in my feels. So it was like, I started like looking at things differently, and like, you know, like the people that are real quiet, like Adam. I don't know why. Like, I just wanted to give an ode to Adam for always being like the best supportive, like coolest dude in the world. And he's so quiet and so humble. So I was like, yeah, man, I gotta get some of him like in the fire. And then he was like mid conversation. And then afterwards, Marcus like actually told me, he's like, man, I really love the photos you did of my brother.
Nice. Yeah. When you shoot like the studio stuff with the women and everything, like how is it? Have you ever had like, is it hard to kind of direct and deal with that, or because you're not doing the same thing with them as you would as the random people walking around,
You
right?
also know how to
No,
get
yeah.
chicks naked for photos and not seem like a creeper.
Honestly, it
No.
doesn't actually happen. It's really only happened like once or twice.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
So it's not show me your butthole. It's not that.
No, the fucking Fandango girls. Fucking, if you saw those tattoos. But no, like, yeah, most of the time it's not like that. It's usually just like, and usually, how it goes is like, if it's somebody that I'm shooting with for the first time, we'll all show up, say hi, and it's just like, hey man, if you're not a professional, like, and I mean, like, obviously, like a lot of people have taken photos and like blah blah blah.
Mhm.
If you're not doing it on the daily, then this doesn't apply to you. But like, it'll usually be like, hey, we're gonna shoot for like probably the first 3 hours,
Mhm.
and they're all gonna be shit.
Mm.
We're not gonna use any of them. But after 3 hours, you'll probably start getting comfortable, and then by hour 6, we'll be good.
Okay.
There's some people like, I'm trying to think. I think Tori,
Mhm.
like actually like models full time. Her, it's like, all right, 5 minutes, you're done.
Yeah, like they know their looks, their angles, their
Yeah.
things, and I said not in a creepy way, but it's like my wife and I have talked about trying to lean in to shoot more other models for like our bikes and stuff that we do, and finding the way like to create the environment of comfortability is what I'm
Yeah.
wondering, and because like I said, when my wife and I shoot, that's easy. She's my wife, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be like, hey, I would try to find a way to have her around and things that way. That way it's never awkward for the model or whatever the case may be. But just finding a way to get into those, like to create that intimacy through the images, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is like, I guess the behind the scenes of like how to carry yourself as a photographer, how to communicate like what you're wanting the model to do and things like that.
Yeah.
It's not like, in my opinion, if you've like someone like me that hasn't shot a lot of people before, you're kind of learning the person the same time you're learning their angles,
Yeah.
if you will.
And that's like what makes like really good models is like the less direction you kind of have to give them, and like the more that they just know. But I think we were talking about it at Born Free, like we were talking about shooting people, and like you were saying like, oh yeah, like you felt more empathy towards trying to shoot whenever, now that you're shooting more people, more empathy towards them, and like, oh, you don't want to be a dick, like you're more worried about sounding like a dick, versus it's like, no, I think I've gotten to a point a little bit more now where it's like, hey, with Honky Tonk Honey, we fucked with her, is like, don't do the fucking duck lips.
Yeah.
Like, just call it out. Like, hey, let's move on. Like, no, we'll just go on to the next thing. Like, looking at it very similarly to if you were shooting a picture yourself, and like, yeah, you can make a dumbass face, and you're just like, oh, damn, that was a dumb face. All right, let's do a different face. And that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I figured like maybe it, coming into it like almost like a mood board kind of thing with like some ideas of these are the kind of things that we're thinking in our head at this sitting in you. But obviously kind of like within that, you're going to find some other things and angles. And that's something I do when I shoot my wife here. Like, I'll shoot some with a long lens, a short, wide angle lens, different stuff, and it's just like fun. But yeah, it quickly becomes hours. You know what I mean? And
I think that's the secret, is like, if it's not somebody that's just professional full-time model, like there's not really a great way to fake it. Like, you just have to fucking be fucking cool with them, and like actually get to know them, and like make sure everything feels comfortable. And like,
do you feel like if they're not a model, within the camera, you can start to find the angles that they might not know they have, and that's what you're kind of...
Yeah, I'll usually shoot some stuff, and then even if they're starting to like get into the feel of it, like I'll usually shut everything down and just be like, hey, no, like, let's look at these and you tell me how you like them. And then we'll go from there. And even if like they're starting to get into the field, I feel like it's important to stop and just be like,
give them some
no, we're
reassurance
treating this like you're like as if you're taking some selfies. Like I'm just a very mobile fucking tripod for you.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we've been wanting to do, finding ways to kind of work with people. And I've reached out to a couple of models, through my wife and I doing so. And it's just like, we don't know how much, I mean, I'm not opposed to paying somebody for their time because I'm learning just as much from this experience as whatever. So like, paying someone that's a little more professional will make it a little bit easier on my end. And then I don't have some expectation to give them something out of it, if it's a trade for work kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like trade modeling for photography. Because if they do the modeling and then I fucking bomb it all, it's like, it's not really worth it for them as opposed to if I just cut them some money.
Yeah, you pay them, and if you don't put any of them because you hate them.
I mean, you could just do it if you do bomb it, then be like, hey, dude, I fucked this up, but here's $100.
Yeah. But I've been wanting to do it, get into it. I'd rather just go like be a fucking grip or an assistant for somebody a couple times.
My whole fucking plan with the job that I have, the day job I have now, was I'd never had a full-time like W-2 job as a photographer.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's what I want. I want to go be a grip and like see, like I've been shooting semi-professionally for years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see somebody successfully doing it.
Yeah.
And like learn from them. That didn't happen. Fucking, they just threw me under the bus. And they're like, here, you got it.
Yeah, you're the professional now. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like just having like, I mean, you've got the shop, like just set something up and fucking plan to shoot a bunch of dog shit photos.
Mm-hmm.
Just goofy as fuck. Like it's the same thing with the podcast, right? Like you don't just start off a conversation jumping straight into some deep shit. So, you got to put in the...
Yeah, I want to be prepared, like... Yeah. I want to be prepared with an idea. Like I'm an over planner kind of dude. I mean,
the mood board thing, I've done a couple of times with some people that aren't models just to kind of help everything move along a little bit better. But I don't know. It usually just turns into kind of run with it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my motto on everything is just fucking let's see
I'm
what
sure
the fuck
happens.
Also,
as soon as they get comfortable, their comfort is going to be doing certain things that are different than maybe what if you had an agenda of what you were wanting to get.
Yeah.
So then
I'm just sure some of the fucking models hate it. By the way, I'm sure that it's not great for them because it puts all the pressure on them to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you see what they're comfortable with, and then you just lean into it, and you're like, okay, cool. We're gonna keep going with this vibe, and you end up getting the shot that you really want.
Because realistically, too, is like if you plan to do a shoot with a model. How many shots do you need? Like whenever we did the stag cover, I think we shot for 4 or 5 hours, and I had told everybody, I was like, dude, I'm loving this. I'm just gonna keep fucking shooting. Like, y'all tell me when you guys are ready.
Yeah.
And fucking like 5 hours in, they're like, you think we got a shot yet? I was like, what do you mean? Like, we just need one photo. I was like, oh, dude, I got that 4 hours ago. Like, yeah, we could pack up. I got 20 of them that are solid.
Yeah. That's kind of the concept of like what I'd like to be able to do within the shop and just in general. I'm a very shy photographer. Like I get I guess social anxiety when it comes to like carrying a camera around a lot of people.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, like I'm able to just completely block it out and just go to town. And every time I do that, I always come out with something that's pretty cool on the other end. But it's the same thing with like trying to do vlogs and make videos. Like you're literally trying to fight this pressure. Maybe it's imposter syndrome, maybe it's something like that. But you're just like, I don't want to be the dude walking into bike night, carrying a camera, shoving it in people's faces.
Yeah.
But then there's also the aspect that my wife told me this one day. She goes, but they all appreciate you doing it.
Yeah.
So
I think you're the most insecure, arrogant person on planet Earth because everyone says that Jace is like this arrogant jerk. But in all actuality, he's very, very insecure about all the fucking work he does.
Well, when you create, in my opinion, when you try to be try to live a life within art, you're always going to have a little bit of insecurities based on what you create, right? Because you always have people you look
you're
up
always
to.
critiquing your work compared to who you've put on this Mount Rushmore of artists that you appreciate.
Exactly. So I mean, there's always that. Like insecure is the absolute correct word to use. But it's just one of many places of being insecure as an adult. You know, with what you do.
The thing that I noticed was like, because like everybody's got the insecurities of whenever it comes to anything.
Yeah.
It's broad range. But especially with like working with models or getting just random people to come take photos, is that, I guess more so with working with like a model, is that like, yeah, you're scared you're going to fuck shit up. They're in the exact same boat, or at least imagine that they're in the exact same boat. Fucking, you guys both don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Like all right, hey, we're going to figure this out together. Like, and maybe they look like shit. You tell me if you don't like them. And then, hey, maybe they'll look cool. And then we'll both tell everybody that we are professionals.
This was planned. Yeah. This was absolutely planned perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what it boils down to is, you know, to chime on him saying the word insecure, it's really like an imposter syndrome thing.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you're trying to create work, and it is an insecurity, but that's the concept of imposter syndrome. You feel like, you know, you're not good at what you do. How are you in this position to walk around with a camera? Why? You know, I've dealt with those kind of feelings my entire professional life of being an adult, from painting to customizing bikes. It's like, you never really feel like you're, you know, even when you get like some accolades or reach some milestones, you're like, in your head, you still, like he said,
I cheated this.
Yeah, it's like there's no way I'm on the level of this person I've been aspiring to be like, or to get to their level. There's no way I'm there.
Well, Jace, you know? I mean, that's like Bobby said earlier. You just got to walk in like you own the place, man. Like literally,
it doesn't even have to be like that. It's just like I feel like, at least I tricked myself into believing this, is that like my insecurities are the exact same as every single other person around me.
Yes.
Everybody's just faking it.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's like, hold on, let's just, okay, like, fuck it. Like, let's accept that. Hey, we're both fucking feeling weird. Like, there you go.
Yeah. So that's kind of like where, you know, photography for me is. It's like an up and down, in and out battle of like, you know, like I said, I'm fortunate that the life that I get to live or have chosen to live is very photogenic. You know, a lot of cool bikes, a lot of cool people, a lot of cool places.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I think about the aspiring photographer I'd like to become, it's usually the person that does the thing I'm most scared to do. Does that make sense? Like, in a way, like Tim O'Keefe is one of my, you know, Mount Rushmore photographers that I love, that I look up to in a lot of ways. And when he shoots women, he shoots them in a way that it creates this feeling to see the images. It's not Hustler magazine kind of vibe.
It's classy.
It's not smut.
And to me, that's the most scary place I could be with a camera. And I don't really
like taking something that looks trashy.
Yeah, like taking something that looks trashy or not, or realizing that maybe I'm just not capable of that type of art. See, in my head, I've told myself at a young age that, and could be bullshit again, but I think everything is obtainable, like art wise. It's a skill and a mindset. So the same way you can teach yourself or have help, obviously, but you can learn how to do certain things through muscle memory or whatever, the same way you can start to see the world in a way that allows you to be a photographer that's good. I mean, if you really think about it, what like the skills behind hitting the button and setting up the camera and kind of knowing the conditions, knowing how to get it, that's a skill. The artistic nature is the way you see, right?
Yeah.
And so training yourself to see things in a certain way or recognize where a good image could take place or whatever is kind of like the skill that's truly, it's the invisible skill that, like, working on that and trying to get good at that is the one that, you know, doesn't feed the ego as much as the learning the settings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, all the photographers that I admire to be like are the ones that I feel like see something that I'm trying to learn how to see like. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, because it's the same reason. Fuck, I can't go on Instagram anymore, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'll see fucking Chicken Rick shit, and I'm like, fuck, dude, it looks so good. Like, I want to fucking shoot some, like, I'm fucking shit at this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll just close Instagram. I'm like, last year, I didn't fucking post shit. I deleted Instagram.
For real.
I hit it. So I'd still get notifications for like messages and shit, but yeah. I don't go scrolling through it. I try not to.
Yeah, it could be an overload of information, and
I'll have that exact same thing where I'm like, oh fuck, dude, like my photos are shit compared to these.
Yeah.
Like, I don't deserve to be a fucking photographer.
Yeah. So I mean, in a way, it allows you to continue to move forward what you're doing. But I guess I see the argument on both sides. To me, I want to know, I always need something to chase, to compete against.
Yeah.
You know? And not that it's a competition in any kind of way.
No, but it's what can motivate you.
It motivates me that way. Yeah. So if I don't see anything, then I would just, you know, live in my own little bubble of a world that, oh, I'm perfect at everything I do. Fuck it. You know, I need to every day go, fuck.
You got to humble yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
dude. I mean, honestly, it happens so much with paint. Like I'd literally open up my phone and see a new helmet from Poland, or Jeremy just did something, and I'm like, fuck, man, like I need to get my ass back in gear and get on some shit. Even though like I've painted some stuff that I'm pretty proud of and I think is badass. It's just like, it's the paint job that you see that you admire that you're like, you didn't personally do. You're like, fuck, why didn't I think of that? You know, or the shot, you know, an image or whatever. It's like, I was just there. I didn't even think about that angle. You know, it's those that like, you know, it makes me to where the next one I do better, or I try to, you know, compete with that. But it is kind of like a double-edged sword where it's kind of good, but not.
Overload on it and be like, I'm not good enough. Well, yeah, because I've Chicken Rick stuff, like, I've seen those like detail shots. I'm like, fuck, dude, like that's how people should shoot detail shots. Like those look sick. Like looking at his stuff, I realized I was like, damn, I don't fucking take any detail shots at all, even whenever I'm shooting detail shots.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like doing it for longer, and then each little niche too.
Well, I think with Chicken Fried Choppers, I think because he has a direction that, you know, not that Harley is saying, hey, do this. Yeah. But they're like saying, hey, we need these kind of shots. It's almost like if you give yourself a checklist of like, and I go here, I need to do this shot, this shot, this shot, this shot. It's kind of like, okay, well, now I need to go find this. So you're looking for, you know, a detailed shot of, you know, a panhead motor, right? Yeah. So now you're on the hunt for a panhead motor. When you're just aimlessly walking around an event going, hey, I want to capture this, but you don't really have any direction, then you're like me. You know, this is advice that I'm actually want to implement on myself. Like giving myself a checklist of stuff to look for. Therefore, if I walk away with nothing, at least I got a checklist of things I told myself to shoot. And I'm going home with that at least, you know? Yeah. But I think that might, and this is a hypothetical, I don't know if it's a fact or not, but I think that might have helped him get those shots because he's going into it from a perspective of trying to create content for both Chicken Fried Choppers and Harley Davidson.
Not necessarily like an exact like coloring book of like, hey, shoot it exactly like this, but it's like, oh, like
it's his interpretation.
He happened to have like, oh, he had this lens and this is how he saw this, but he needed to get this shot. And it's like, oh, cool. Like, fucking, I mean, you found a way to do it that nobody else was doing it and fucking made it your own.
Exactly.
But it's kind of all the little pushes that got you there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, there's definitely that. I mean, every time I would have an opportunity to shoot something for Simpson, or even whenever the Torque magazine was out, it was like I shot some of my best stuff with direction behind it. Yeah. You know,
I feel like
purpose.
I always struggle with it.
I mean, it's scary in the moment because you're trying to walk away with something good, but you're just kind of like, I think you're more plugged in because you are scared. Yeah. You know, you are a little bit nervous.
I think the only real thing that I got like a shot list for was a Cycle Source, because they're real heavy on like, oh, we want however fucking they want
A side, B
B-side,
side, yeah.
45, 45, 45.
Yeah.
And so
Oh, I can't do that. That's
that
what
one
burnt
was
me out
like-
right there, because it's literally like, here's this roadmap of exactly what we want. And it's like,
I liked it because I wanted that backbone of like, hey, how should I shoot this? What shot should I go for? And obviously like A side, B side, duh. But it's like, okay, well, like I call it the money shot, the 45 degrees from the back wheel.
yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, I always get that shot.
Yeah.
But then it's rotating that exact same shot, fucking
4 times.
mirrored and then mirrored and then mirrored. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, now this isn't fucking cool anymore.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while, I like to get that really wide shot from above looking down,
Yeah.
you know, or I'll also like to get the shots of like, you know, like I want the shots to sometimes be familiar to the rider, like from an angle when they're walking up on their bike at the gas station. You got that great gas station light on it.
Yeah.
I don't know why that light always slaps so hard.
Oh, dude.
But you're walking up, it's that 45-degree angle in the front or maybe the back that you're just like, God damn, that bike looks good in there.
And I'm okay with, like, I like that. Obviously, it is very photogenic. It tells a lot more of the, you know, at the 45-degree angle. But like, I like to mix it up with the focal length. You know what I mean? I kind of want something that's going to be a little further away. You're going to have your standard focal length that you're going to run that stuff at. But then like, man, I want to get super wide and I want to get low because I want to give a different perspective of it. Or like you said, you know, that walk-up shot, you want that because that's not your standard, you know, I forgot what it, in the automotive, it's a little different than a motorcycle, but like you have a standard height that you want to shoot at and that 45, but that's why magazines all look standardized. And to me as an artist, it's so like anti-creative.
Well, it goes back to that, the like gear challenge that I was kind of talking to you about of like, fucking lock yourself to a 50 mil prime lens and just, that's all you're allowed to use.
Yeah.
Now figure out how to shoot everything that you've already shot, but now you have to shoot it all on a lens that you're not typically shooting it at.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, for Beaver Bash, I'll give you. I got this little 28 mil that has no focusing. It's hard locked f11.
Damn.
It's one of those little like whatever the little fucking
chip
trend
lenses
is going around right now.
Yeah,
with,
little
like,
chip lenses.
Yeah.
Work.
I tried to bring that out to fucking the bike night, our Halloween party.
Mm-hmm.
And I shot a couple photos with it, and then looking at them on the camera, I was like, oh, these look fucking terrible. So I threw it back in the bag and wasn't going to fuck with it. Whenever I got home and like loaded them up and cleaned them up with Lightroom and shit, I was like, oh, wait, these are actually like, these are kind of sick.
Yeah.
So it's like, you had said that like, yeah, with the last tour you did, like you only brought 2 lenses. Like, fuck that, dude. Bring 1 prime lens.
Yeah. Well, there was to me, it was the 2 lenses I brought that didn't, you know, had to go on the trip was a 70 to 200 and the 24 to 70.
Yeah.
And that covers a big focal range, right?
Yeah.
But to me, if I was going on a short trip to somewhere I go a lot, no problem taking 1 lens and forcing myself
well,
to.
Obviously, with your tour, fuck.
Yeah, I'm going to parts of the country I may never ride through again.
And
so
there's a reason that you purchased the lenses that you have.
But I'm with you on that. I think that you know, with the camera stuff, like, and I commend you for this because and you bought an EOS R, and like I get to where I feel like I need more shit to be better, and you've stuck with 1 camera and just gotten better with the same setup, right?
Yeah.
And I commend that because that's, to me, that's a testament to the focusing on the craft rather than the tools. And I tend to focus on the tools a lot.
Don't get me wrong. I fucking focus on the tools. I'm just poor. I can tell you all the specs on everything, fucking Canon, Sony, and all that shit and all the lenses, but I can't afford it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I pretty much had to work on a street to afford all that shit, you know? But
I will say one of the things is like with the skate park photography, like you think skate park stuff, you immediately go fisheye, especially like back early 2000s. Like everything was on a fisheye. I couldn't afford a fisheye. So I think everything I shot was on like a 50 mil and a fucking like 30. And I shot everything on that for like a year or two, and I was always looking at my shit like, damn, dude, like this would look better on a fucking fisheye. I need to just get the fisheye. And then right as the fisheye was on its way, I met a couple dudes that were like, hey, dude, like we've been following your shit for a while. We love it. Like you're the only guy at the skate park that doesn't shoot on a fisheye. That's why we like your shit. And I'm like, oh, I hate my shit because of that.
Yeah, because it wasn't cookie cutter. It didn't look like everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, but it's like that's the exact same reason somebody else loves it. So it's like,
that's a good. That actually ties back into like you not being on so heavy on social media. You know what I mean? Because you're comparing.
Yeah.
You know what they say, the comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's good. That's a good point, man. I try to.
Don't get me wrong. There's some fucking downfalls to it because then I'm not like in certain circles and like, cause I'll go and shoot like Born Free and it's like, oh cool. I get to see all my buddies and shit. But then whenever I go home, I'm not on social media really. So I'm really only talking to my buddies every now and then then at events versus like if I was on social media more, have better relationships with them.
No, that makes a lot of sense too, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think that, you know, I had this whole year was kind of dedicated to photographing things. And the year before I spent most of the year videoing things. So I didn't shoot as much photos. And so now I think, you know, I need to find a way to really have a life where I spend time with both of these kind of endeavors. You know what I mean? But it just sucks when you're videoing something and then you see the perfect photo.
Yeah.
And
I think this year I'm going to focus more on video.
Yeah. I need to because I want to kick back up on. I've always wanted to. Me and Devin tried to help a lot, and it was really just me like roadblocking myself. But you know, last year around this time until beginning of January, Devin and I did a lot of little things here around the shop where I wanted to showcase like how, you know, like. Because I had kind of gotten known, if you will, or that's the wrong way to say it. I had started getting a little recognition of like the way I would shoot the bikes with the flashes on the trips. Yeah. And so I was like, well, shit, let's go do a little ride around town and go stop somewhere and I'll kind of show people how I'm photographing it, you know? And I don't know, it's just not verbally there to like just spill the beans of having like, I didn't have a script of saying like, this is what I do this for. It's more like, I need to just do it and video it and then voice over it or something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things though too of like, I don't know, with like paint or photography, really any of like the liberal arts sort of shit. Like you can have a guy that's just fucking, it's in their DNA. They take good photos or they're good at painting. And then you can take a guy that fucking starting out fresh, not a fucking clue. But the way that he learns to like, maybe he puts in 10 years just to be as good as the guy that was born gifted with it from day one. Maybe it took him 10 years to get on that guy's level, but the information that he has and how he can explain it now to somebody else is far superior than the guy that doesn't know why he's shooting it. He just has the eye for it.
Oh, that's a good perspective right there. Yeah. And I definitely have seen and met people like that where they just kind of like didn't really have to try hard to be awesome at, you know, the endeavor, whether it's, you know, the muscle memory they have for something like airbrushing or pinstriping or, you know, like the eye they might have for photography. Yeah. Yeah. You know,
I've met some dudes where it was like, especially with like photography and stuff, where it's like, I wouldn't say I'm naturally fucking gifted at it. I've been doing it since I was fucking 4, but then meeting some guys that it's like, oh, they don't have a fucking clue. And I've slowly tried to like teach them some stuff over like 5 years. And then whenever they finally understand something and somebody asks a question, it's like, well, I don't fucking know. I just do it. Yeah. And then, but they have a fucking, here's exactly what you should do. And this is why this is better. I'm like, I didn't fucking know. I taught that guy how to do it, but I didn't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair, man. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. If you're trying to learn through other people, it's always best to have like it's always best to have put some input in or effort into it to know where your roadblocks are, to ask the right questions, to put yourself in the right places. And that's something I've been, like I was saying with you, or I've asked Tim before about like trying to help him out on photo shoots just so that I can kind of see, because I'm a visual learner. I need to see how things are, how it's set up, like the body language of the photographer, the way he narrates or directs the situation or not, or whatever. I'm a visual learner, so I want to see all those type of things. And,
I've watched a lot of YouTube
same.
videos.
I have too. Probably watched it all.
Yeah.
And I'm probably, and I'm not trying to like
it's
down
definitely something different to witness it in person. Like I was saying, like that's the whole reason I wanted a W-2 job as a photographer. Like I want to run grip and see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a very fun and rewarding creative passion, if you will, but it's based on the parameters you gave yourself for it. Like if you keep it like, if you, not saying you can't make money in photography, because you've made some, and Devin was hustling dudes for $20 over this weekend. So there's money to be made
on the streets.
Dude, what do they say? To be a professional photographer, you have to do a couple things. Have you been published? Right? And do you make money at it? Has someone ever paid you for a photo?
There you go.
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
I think the thing that I learned somewhat recently with the photography, at least within the chopper community stuff, and this doesn't necessarily count for Lichter because this is kind of before his time of like it being a little bit different back then, but like AJ and Brian Helm, you can do it, but you don't get to be home ever.
Yeah.
Like those dudes are constantly on the road.
Yeah.
And like they're scraping by, and it's like, well, shit, like that's what I want to do, but I also don't want to fucking do that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, being on the road, like, you know how bad, this is what I want to do. We kind of got to wrap it up. I badly want to do a road trip with just a few friends in the Jeep and go shoot everywhere. Yeah. Like not shooting bikes. I mean, if there's a bike there, cool. But it's like, hey, we're going to go on a like 3 or 4 day trip to these different parts. And we're all going to come together before, and we're all going to figure out these places we want to go, sunrise, sunset. That way we put ourselves in great spots to kind of do some photography all fucking day. And, just be around people, and then you're kind of feeding and vibing off each other. And, to me, that'd be fun as hell. I mean, we could still go out and have a little, good time after the
man. I'm still waiting for your prime lens Dallas day that you keep talking about wanting to do that we still haven't done.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I got a lot of ideas. I'm like an idea guy, and I need to like throw it at a board, and I need someone else to pick the note off and go, all right, I'm going to make sure this happens.
He has this idea, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. And then I think he's just waiting for me to send it out, but I don't know nearly as many cool photographers as he does.
It'll be like, I was thinking about it too. It's like, we get like Born Free and Nitty Gritty and fucking cool events to go shoot. Fucking, we need more of it. Why the fuck aren't we just going out and fucking doing it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for me at events, it's kind of like I'm playing two sides of the fence, because I've got the side of the fence where I've got a presence there as a brand.
Yeah,
that it makes it hard where I can't just go walk around all fucking day and shoot.
I mean more of like an intimate, like the Beaver Bash shit.
Yeah,
where it's like, yo, why aren't we just like getting our friends together more often and just going on little fucking trips?
I got to get cooler with Justin. I literally, like what you guys are talking about, I'm like bummed. I'm like, dude, I want to go just fucking take photos of fucking random guys doing fucking the good shit. Justin's getting a message for me. He's gay. I should.
Well, it's not. I think Justin's also an invited.
Yeah, it's
guy.
Jason.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know Jason
That's
as well.
why.
I don't know Jason as well.
Yeah, but you
just find Jason when he's drunk and be like, "Hey, man, I heard about Beaver Bash, and I'll give you an invite."
Yeah,
right.
But, like I said, I think it would be really great just to get a couple guys together and go somewhere far with the intention of only shooting.
Yeah.
Knowing that every day you're not going home, you're going to be on this road for a couple of days. Another photographer that I follow, that he comes to bike night, not to bike night to be at bike night, but he just happened to hang out at the bar. He left to go to Vermont about a month ago, and he literally is following the fall season home.
Oh shit!
And he's been shooting, and I'm on his Patreon. I follow him there, and
that's the dude who shoots the skylines.
He's skylines, like he's a kind of a little bit of everything, but there's a lot of landscape, and to me, it's like when it comes to shooting something like you're standing on PCH and you're looking down the coastline, it's badass, right?
Yeah.
I guess my thing is I'm at the viewpoint that somebody decided a long time ago is a badass spot. And so everybody sees this. So by going out with people to shoot something like landscapes or random buildings or towns or, whatever case you want to do, you're seeing people get creative and find stuff. And it kind of opens your mind to like the possibilities in these spaces that you're not really that good at, or at least I don't feel like I'm that good at. And then you're hanging out and talking photography with the dudes all fucking day and, nerding out on what this is or what that is. And, it's like, I think it's more of a learning experience to be around other people doing this stuff than anything. But I guess my point to bring up the dude, Justin, that I was telling you I follow and everything is that he's shooting things that I've seen beautiful places like that. I just didn't know. I felt like if I took that shot, it wasn't unique. Yeah. But I guess I'm looking at it from an overthinker's perspective as well.
I mean, I do the same shit.
No,
I used to do more so just some buddies. We had a studio out in Arlington or Allen or McKinney. Like right on the edge. But we used to do that every couple weeks. We'd go out to fucking either Dallas or DFW or Fort Worth and just be like, all right, let's go fucking rent some bird scooters and be fucking dipshits and take some photos. Like no plan, not a single plan for any photo to come out good. But it's just, hey man, we're all photographers. Let's go fucking take photos and just have a good fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude Justin as well. He does he chases the fall stuff, and then in the spring he chases the storms.
Yeah.
And they go get those fucking gnarly supercells as they form. Yeah. They put themselves in the right spot to shoot it, and I don't know. To me, that would be exhilarating, knowing that this fucking storm and you're in Oklahoma, some twister stuff going on.
I told you about my buddy Tim. That's all he does, and like he does that in classes. That dude is a bad motherfucker at that shit.
Yeah. So this is aspects of like what I enjoy about traveling on a motorcycle with my friends and doing stuff. I want to find a way, more selfishly, like I'm not trying to create an event for people, but selfishly try to find a way to implement the feelings that we have traveling on a bike with a couple of photographers, going across, maybe not the whole country, but on a road trip somewhere that's going to be scenic.
Be massive and it can't be like public necessarily.
Like,
But just having like, hey, let's go do some cool shit and let's take some pictures.
Yeah. We got to do it, man.
I'm down. Let's go.
All right. Well, Bobby, thank you, sir, for coming in and helping out.
Finally making me come on here after fucking years. Fuck.
Had to wait till you got good, dude.
Yeah. Give me like 5 years to freshen up.
No, you're all good. I appreciate you doing it. I feel like some podcasts you force and some you let just work out naturally. And, 5 years we've known each other, but now we seem to be seeing each other a lot more often.
Yeah, you're a chopper guy now.
Oh, there you go.
See?
All right. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Coming out party.